Okay. Why? Hello, everyone. Hello. What is going on here? Okay. How's everybody doing? But I want to know, what the fuck is this? Chat is disabled for the stream? Something... Okay. Let me just see if... Nothing? Why is it dark? Why? What's going on here? Something's fucked up. Something is really fucked up. Oh, no? What? Device not connected? So if I go there, okay. And I can hide that, and I can go... Okay. Something strange was up there. Anyway. Stop. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Much better. Holy shit. And are we... Of course not. Of course. I have this plugin for OBS which allows me to dual stream, but every goddamn time I have to re-enter the keys to my stream. And there we go. So I can't just click stream and everything works. I have to re-enter everything. I'm so... What happens if I... This is too much, right? This is way too much. This work? I'm a bit dark here, aren't I? What happens if I do this? That's better, right? I'm doing some housework here just to be able to look better for you guys. Because I noticed my latest streams have been looking a bit dark. And I don't like that. Not one bit. I've also tampered with the audio quality. Why do I look that way? Is this the best it's gonna look? Is this how it's gonna look? Really? This is it? I do not like it. I'm looking at the quality here and it looks fine. I'm looking at the quality there and it looks muddy for some reason. And I do not know why. I do not know why. Oh, stream. I can't do that while I'm live. And is it because I downscale? Is that it? I'll be right back. Give me a moment. And come on. Go live. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm just doing some housekeeping because this is something I can't do. I think it looks better. Oh, sorry if I go back here versus here. Maybe. Still not as good as I wanted. But I'm gonna have to live with this, I guess. Still not the quality I'm looking for, though. Can I do something like that, maybe? Give me a moment. Give me a second here. Filters is wrong. This is gonna help me new. No, I'm just gonna have to live with this for the moment. But I have done some work with the audio. I hope it's noticeable. Seriously, I really do. Let's see here. I had a viewer. If I go. Close enough. I'm still here. I'm just doing some housekeeping. I'm sorry. Can I? There we go. And there we go. Transform. Transformers. Hello, people. I'm just doing some housekeeping at the moment. Give me a second. And we'll be right there. No, I can't. Oh, because it's locked. So I don't have to show it, probably. Yeah, I don't. Fit the screen. There we go. And fit the screen. Okay. There we go. We've done some housekeeping. And what's this? Streamlabs. Stream elements. Almost there, people. Almost fit the screen. There we go. Okay, how's everybody doing? Welcome. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. We have some spy drama going on in Sweden. This November, I didn't report on it then. I don't even know if I mentioned it. The reason I didn't mention it was because there was no outcome. There was no resolution. Yes, people spy everywhere. We had actually 2 spy dramas around the same time. Let's see here. We had 2 spy dramas. One was with a couple, a married couple from Russia, who were in the import-export business. And let's see if we can. Can I just? Can I not be a moron? For one day, just one fucking day. Is it possible? No, it's not. Because here I am. Being a fucking moron again. There we go. A married couple from Russia arrested for espionage lived quiet life in villa. This was published in November. So at the time, there was very little information being given. But if we go to, I believe the husband, I can't find it now, can I? The husband in the couple is still being detained. He is he's still a suspect. The woman is set free, however. For some reason, I don't have special insight, so I can't tell you why. They had between 2001, I believe, and 2015, they had an apartment in Kremlin, in Moscow, where they shared the same floor as the GRU, which is the Russian special agency. That's not right. Why is my camera? The Russian agency, the Russian agent, I should say, which was responsible, or is believed at least to be responsible, for the poisoning of the British in Britain against a former Russian spy. They shared a flat with that guy, or a floor with that guy in Kremlin, and just a walk away was the school for GRU, their education center. There is very little. There's very little doubt that they were spying in Sweden. What they were spying on, however, weren't state secrets necessarily. They were selling military information, military equipment information to Russia, which is hilarious considering Russia's lacking military equipment at the moment. Like, they have none. And Sweden's military equipment is probably one of the better in the world, if not the best in the world. We don't have a lot, but what we have is world class. I believe I've shown Swedish sub against U.S. Navy. Yeah, this is.
Episode of Real
Let's just
Engineering is
watch a
brought to you
little.
by second only to the actual US Air Force.
Oh my god.
Single-
Oh my god. I'm gonna have to take this all over again, aren't I? Because I had my own stream up. I'm a fucking moron. Nobody told me. Nobody told me. What the fuck, guys? I'm sorry about that. There was an echo. I'm gonna do this all over again because of that. Holy shit. Maybe I can do it better this time. Maybe I can do it better. There have been spy drama going on in Sweden. Recently, two brothers were convicted. One got a lifetime sentence. The other got a 10 years and 9 months sentencing, I believe. However, there was previously another Russian couple that got arrested. These arrests happened around the same time, but only one of them have gone to court or sentencing, at least, I believe. I'm not entirely sure what's happened here. There's no news really about it anymore. But this couple, let's start there because this is less. There's less news about this, so let's start here. This couple came to Sweden around the year 2000. I believe they got was it 95 even? I believe they came. Shut up. It's not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. They've been here for a long time. They became citizens around 2000 at least. The husband in the couple is still detained. The woman is set free. They are suspected of having spied on military equipment because they ran an import-export company with military equipment. So they had probably access to a lot of Saab's secrets, to a lot of information that Russia shouldn't have. Let's just put it that way. In no way should Russia be having this information. However, if they have this information, the fact that they still to this day are failing this hard in Ukraine is just hilarious. It's just hilarious. Swedish military, we don't have a lot. What we do have is top notch, which is one of the reasons we are sought after on the world stage. For example, we ran a training exercise with the U.S. military or U.S. Navy for our subs, the Gotland class, I believe. It is so effective. It uses old technology, a Stirling engine, but it's virtually undetectable. You can manage it with one person, like one person manning the whole sub, and I believe everybody in the submarine is able to at least maneuver the submarine. If everybody but the cook is incapacitated, the cook can still surface the sub and get to rescue. Okay, that's how easy it is to maneuver. Oh my god! I just want. the joint practice between Sweden and the U.S. Navy. They rented our submarine. They rented it for. It was supposed to be like a month's practice because the U.S. was so fucking convinced they were gonna win this easily. They just wanted something to practice with. But the fact that they asked Sweden to send a Gotland class submarine says something about how good it is. The practice, the joint practice ran for 2 years. That's how fucking good it is. If Russia has access to this information, which is not unlikely in light of recent events, and they are still failing hard in Ukraine, they are so fucking fucked. They have the information, they have the intelligence, but they have none of the action. Embarrassing. Completely embarrassing. Anyway, this is the less salacious parts of this whole spy thriller. Wait, this is today, right? Or is it yesterday? Oh, even. I have no idea. So last week, January 19th, FRA is Swedish signal intelligence, we online and telephone and espionage like that. Wait. Hold up. Which dictatorship? United Arab Emirates, of course. Payman Kia, the older brother, I believe, was Russia's insider at SAPO. SAPO is Swedish Secret Service. And MUST. MUST is, I believe, is our CIA. Yeah, military intelligence. And sold out at least 90 top secret reports. He was able to act undisturbed for years and was only discovered after SAPO received an outside tip that a Swedish mole had submitted an offer to the Russian intelligence service. All in all, this is one of the most serious cases of this kind All in all, this is one of the most serious cases of this kind ever in Sweden's history, says prosecutor Mats Ljungqvist at the National Security Unit. The 42-year-old from Uppsala worked for 10 years at the heart of the intelligence service. Today, despite his denial, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for aggravated espionage. The verdict shows that Payman Kia spied on behalf of Russia from within the secret police and the military intelligence and security service for 10 years. Only after SAPO received an outside tip could action be taken. SAPO received intelligence information that someone who worked within the Swedish security and intelligence service would have offered secret information to Russia and the GRU, writes the court in the judgment. I wonder if we have, if this means Sweden has an insider, or maybe some other nation has an insider in Russian secret intelligence. It's possible. It's possible. That's how we got this information. The judgment described an offer for classified Swedish information that reached the Russian intelligence service, according to Chief Prosecutor Per Lindqvist. It was precisely this offer that started the whole case in 2017. They've been going on for longer than that. There is an offer at the bottom here, and when you compare that offer with what has been acquired and cleared, you see that it corresponds extremely well. It is just as the district court says, an important piece of the puzzle here, says Per Lindqvist. Is intelligence that became the focus of the investigation and the offer described in the judgment the same thing? Yes, it is. Is intelligence become the focus of the investigation and the offer described in the judgment the same thing? Okay. None of the prosecutors want to answer how Säpo found out about the Swedish mole's offer to the Russian military. No shit they don't. No fucking shit they don't. Why the fuck would they want that? God. Why would they just... Oh, yeah, here's our inside man in Russia. That's how we got this. But in general terms, Per Lindquist described extensive cooperation with authorities both outside and inside Sweden's borders. It is clear that in the work with counter-espionage, there is extensive national and international cooperation. How it has turned out in this case, I cannot tell you about. But it is clear that in all work of this type, it is based on extensive international cooperation, and without that cooperation, it is difficult to sort out things like this. There are several authorities that worked incredibly hard for a very long time with this investigation. One of the authorities that contributed to parts of the investigation in the Defense Radio Agency, FRA, Defense Radio Agency. We have contributed to the investigation, but I do not want to go into exactly how we have worked. It's about the fact that we have supported Säpo and the armed forces and contributed in different ways, says Ola Bilger, head of communications at FRA. After Säpo received the tip about the Swedish offer to the GRU, the security police launched an internal investigation which concluded that it must be Payman Kia who went to Russia. They didn't even get the name. So they just found out someone was making an offer, and they deduced who it was from that. Interesting. After who went to Russia, our summary of this investigation is part of the evidence that the district court took notice of. The district court considered that Säpo presented very good grounds for its conclusion that Payman Kia is the most likely informant, the judgment reads. Okay. So in the court, I'm guessing they didn't present all the information, just the necessary information. From what I understand, they've been going through his office after hours. Like as soon as he went home, or as soon as the offices were empty, they went in there with a magnifying glass and some UV lights. They have also, I believe, they arrested this one first, and then they noticed the brother, because they had the brother on surveillance at the same time, I believe. Or they must have. Once they arrested this guy, they noticed the brother dispose of destroyed hard drives. Why would one destroy hard drives and just dispose them like that? Something's fishy going. Like, I would destroy hard drives. If I do it when my brother gets arrested for espionage, something's fishy going on, though. That's just how it works. Both brothers categorically deny any wrongdoing. Of course they do. Payman Kia, because in Sweden we don't have, you can't get a lenient sentencing for voluntary give up information. So I'm guessing that's why they didn't volunteer that they're guilty. Payman Kia claims that he was entitled to read the secret documents as part of his employment, and his younger brother Payman Kia claims that the cash he handled, among other things, derives from casino winnings in the United States. Immediately after the verdict, Payman Kia's lawyer, Anton Strand, said that his client was to appeal the sentence. I have spoken to my client who wants to appeal the verdict. I can state that my main man is sentenced against his denial for gross espionage. He also gets life imprisonment. Okay. It is, of course, not possible to be satisfied with this verdict, but this will be appealed to Svea Court of Appeal, says Anton Strand. And life verdict in Sweden, despite what people may claim, is still life. But you will be automatically appealed, I believe, or not automatically appealed. an automatic appeal will be filed after 25 years, I believe. My chat is not working. Anyway, I'll look at that later. Payment Kiev's lawyer, Björn Sandin, is also dissatisfied and is considering an appeal. According to a prosecutor, the motive for the espionage was that Payment Kiev and his younger henchman and brother, what is this? Give me the word. Handlanger, okay. Henchman, I believe. Yeah, sure, why not? And Payment Kiev wanted to enrich themselves. I think the district court landed somewhere around $500,000. That's 50,000 euros. That is nothing. Why the fuck would you? I mean, that can't be the whole 10 years, can it? $500,000, that's not wrong, but the amount could be higher. It is difficult to. Okay, thank you. He is satisfied that that's just what they could prove, I guess. He is satisfied with the district's court decision and says this about the sentence imposed. For those who have full insight into this, the outcome is actually completely expected. The extent of the damage to the Swedish Defense and Intelligence Service is classified as confidential, but is described by the Stockholm District Court as extremely serious. The most serious level of assessment. This is one of the cases that is among the worst we have had in this country when it comes to the type of crime, says prosecutor Mats Ljungqvist. So let's see if we can't. What's this? Payment Kia search the internet, disappear in Sweden. I'm guessing how? Right. Can you be prosecuted? Sorry. Can you be prosecuted before interrogation? Stay away from the law. Payment Kia began panicking on the internet when Sapu was the spy brothers on the trail. Now he and older brother Payment Kia are indicted on suspicion of having sold defense secrets to the Russian contact. November 12th, yeah. So, is a prosecuting public if charges aren't brought? These are search terms he's done. Should a prosecutor charge as soon as there are probable cause? Can a prosecutor wait with charges? Staying away from the law. Staying away from delgivning. Being handed the charges, I guess. Airplane finder? Wait. Flygplan. What's this? What do you get for... Okay, finding... Okay, sure. Helicopter tracker. Interesting. His brother, when his brother was arrested, there were 2 helicopters, 2 Black Hawk helicopters, which the police used to guide people down from the helicopters. So interesting. Oof. How do you translate? Gross, of course. Gross unlawful ownership of secret papers is how I would translate this. espionage. Wasn't Anton Strand the... Yeah. Yeah. He searched for his lawyer's name. Okay. He wanted to see what connection he had, probably. Yeah. Okay. So the type of jobs this guy had was, apparently he had access. He had access to deep agents on behalf of Sweden. He had access to those agents. Now, you can have your moral qualms about espionage at large, but it happens. It happens. It's not something. It's gonna happen as long as there are nations. You know, it's gonna happen. And in that case, when Russia, a dictatorship, a criminal organization, seriously, Russia is run by a criminal organization. There's no doubt about that. When they have access to our spies, even if they are not spying in Russia, that's gonna be, oof. I'm guessing all our spies that we had, they are home by now if they weren't captured. We don't have any active spies at the moment for as long as we can, as long as we don't know if he had, or if we don't know if he didn't have access to that information. If there's a sliver of a chance this dude had access to that information, those spies aren't active. Not a chance. Not a chance at all. With this, last time I talked about schools and boys. I didn't do a video on it. I wasn't happy with it. But we're seeing a massive flux, a massive increase in violence at the moment. And it seems to be connected to a Kurdish national. I highly doubt that it is connected to Kurdistan or the what's called the socialist attempt in northern Syria, Rojava. I doubt it's connected to any of those organizations or attempts. What I can believe, however, it wouldn't, let me put it this way, it wouldn't surprise me if Russia have funded our criminal organizations for years at this point, for decades. It would be, I wouldn't even, it wouldn't shock me a little bit. Like I would pop the champagne after this video. But if tomorrow someone said, you know what, we can trace money from Russia to these criminal organizations in Sweden, of course, why not? Why the fuck not? Of course, Russia is funding the Swedish criminal organizations. Of course. I'm just gonna do a quick Google search, see what I get. Okay. Oh my god. I haven't Googled this at all, ever. Let me just translate. Like, I don't know this website at all. Let me just check so it's not a. It's a foundation. So it's a foundation where they. What? There, I'm gonna tread lightly. It's a foundation about specifically mapping out the Islamistic threats to Sweden. It seems so. Take this for what it is. Anyway, I just Googled, and there seems to be some validity to this. I just want to see. Okay, they have. They have seem to have a connection to legitimate media, at least, as far as you can call Expressen legitimate. It's a tabloid magazine, but it's not a radical magazine. It's a mainstream magazine still. You get actual news from Expressen. That is linked to both Islamistic terror and Russian mafia. At least 4 returnees from Syria are part of the network, and one of the designated leaders was recently detained by security police. So, yeah. Of course, Russia is connected to all this. Of course. And let's just... Really? So I can't translate it? What happens if I... But I can't translate it. Chrome Translate extension. Engelska. There we go. Ha! Suck it. Organized crime is a Russian foreign policy. And, yeah. In addition to the military threat, this was 2017. In addition to threats to Sweden's security, we must also learn to understand and monitor a growing threat from organized crime, warns Karn Lallerstedt at the Business Security Delegation. When one thinks of Russia's foreign policy forces, it is above all... Oh, by the way, Russia's response to us imprisoning Russian spies, it's Russophobia. That's all it is. It's just Russophobia. There's nothing else here. It's just Russophobia. The guys are from Iran. They're not even Russian. They're just spying on behalf of Russia. They're not Russian. How can it be Russophobia if they're not Russian? You fucking morons. When one thinks of Russia's foreign policy forces, it is above all military factors that stand out. The country has more nuclear weapons, armed vehicles. This is hilarious. Armored vehicles, tracked artillery, and rocket artillery pieces than any other country. Russia has also so many occasions. Blah 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 blah. The Kremlin's lunar strike under. Yeah, here. Okay, this is the spy that was connected to the Swedish couple who sold military secrets. Even less dramatic incidents, such as the hacker attacks on the Democratic Party of the US presidential election campaign and the kidnapping of Estonian security police officer on Estonian territory in 2014, clearly shows the willingness to flagrantly violate the usual rules of the game. A recent report from the European Council of Foreign Relations think tank presents a lesser-known tool in the Moscow secret toolbox: the Russian mafia. That spies operate in the underworld is not new or unique. Oh, that spies operate. Okay. But the Russian case stands out because organized crime linked to Russia plays a key role in many European countries, even outside the former Soviet Union. Organized crime linked to Russian accounts for about a third of the heroin sold in Europe. A third of the heroin sold in Europe is linked to Russia. Significant human trafficking and a majority of illegal arms imports. I wonder if Tate... It wouldn't surprise me if Andrew and Tristan Tate were approached by Russia, at least, if not actively engaged with Russian spies. Actually, that's going to be interesting in the Romanian case, if that comes up. But Russian organized crime is often hidden force behind other criminal groups in Europe. These Russian-linked actors often operate at a strategic level, offering other criminals access to their resources and networks, which in practice can mean, for example, Afghan heroin, Russian methamphetamine, hacker expertise, or opportunities to invest dirty money. These criminal Russians, who may also come from other countries of the former Soviet Union, also strengthens less sophisticated European criminal groups through the goods and service they offer because they act as strategic intermediaries. They can operate and have great influence even in places where there are relatively few Russian gangsters. Yeah, they are so heavy resourced that they do not need to be many in order to be effective, which is quite scary actually. Researcher Mark Yalotti, who wrote the report, not only finds growing evidence of links between the Russian security service and organized crime, but sees Russian organized crime as a potent foreign policy tool that can be used in intelligence and to exert political influence. As for Sweden, Stockholm is identified as an important smuggling link with a long-term presence of Russian organized crime. Sweden is also a target for mafia money. The parade example mentioned in the report is a revelation from 2014. The parade example mentioned, what? Okay, the parade example is not it's the crown jewel, so to speak. What was discovered then by newspaper Expressen was that a man who was described as boss of bosses in the Russian mafia also appeared on the FBI's most wanted list, along with Russian-speaking oligarchs also wanted by the FBI, controlled a majority of the shares of a publicly traded Swedish company with energy interests in Ukraine. With energy interests in Ukraine. Oh my God. The connections, they are everywhere. Both intelligence and criminal activities are by nature secret. So we can never be sure of everything that goes on in Sweden or is directed against Swedish interests. But history teaches us that security and intelligence agencies have long exploited criminal actors and black markets to serve their purposes. Gelotti highlights various aspects of how Russian security services have and can exploit organized crime to, for example, smuggle people, weapons, and other things across borders, execute defectors and terrorists, support intelligence operations, and act as conduits for the purchases of tactically or strategically interesting assets, such as properties in the vicinity of protected objects. So, Russia, apparently, it seems, is buying objects, apartments, housing complexes, businesses near secret, near objects of secrecy, of military secret. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Or purchase hacker services for cyber attacks. It is not unique for states to use forces in the underworld to advance its interests. The Cold War is full of such examples, where criminals and terrorists were used as proxies. An indirect destabilization and or influence of an adversary via criminal proxies become difficult to bind to a hostile state power, at least in court. Russia is not unique in that the Kremlin may have used criminal actors as a tool for the promotion of its security policy interests. Many other countries have also done so, but what distinguishes Russia in the context is how strong its organized crime is, and that Russia has shown a willingness to break the rules of the game that the European democracies follow, such as kidnapping secret service officers. How should a country like Sweden deal with the potential threats? It is important for politicians and the public to recognize that criminals and their black markets are connected to wider issues of national security, not just ordinary crime. Black markets, for example, pirated goods and narcotics, are sources of income that strengthen the financial basis of organized crime and also terrorist groups. Economic strength is a prerequisite for military strength. With money from illegal trade, criminal groups can recruit more members and buy more weapons. The real threat Sweden faces in this context is not Russia, but a growing criminality and black markets, which in themselves pose serious problems, but also create various vulnerabilities that can be exploited by adversaries. Against this background, the real problem is that Sweden does not take the task of maintaining a functioning justice system seriously. Damn, that's skating. According to Eurostat's latest figures, Sweden is one of the states within the EU that spends the lowest percentage of GDP on public order and security, only 70% of the EU average. Damn. At the same time, there is an avalanche of criminal crimes associated with organized crime, shootings, bombings, and extortion crimes. And the problem of vulnerable areas where the justice system is challenged is growing. Sweden must start taking security seriously. The alternative is a failing rule of law and an increased vulnerability to outside pressure. Now, the reason a lot of people have blamed and is blaming all of this, all of the spikes in criminality, which is a lot at the moment. We have had, let's just, let's see here. 45 cases of deadly violence. That's not what I want. I want shootings specifically. What is this? Oh, okay. So we can see here, if you just allow me to translate. Why doesn't it translate? Translate. Come on. He's not going to translate? Uh, 2022 looks set to be the bloodiest year since measurement of deadly gun violence began in Sweden. It it can be compared to 2020 when the figure reached 47 fatal shootings. In other recent years, the figure has been around 45. So we have seen a great uptick in gun violence in Sweden. And a lot of people, especially right-wing politicians, are blaming this on immigration. Immigration, period. There's no other factors involved. It's just they immigrant from Muslim countries or Islamic countries, and therefore they are criminals. You know, therefore they use gun violence against people. You know, this is a very simple explanation. I believe it is far greater possibility that Russia has targeted these types of criminal gangs to amp them up. They have poured money into them, poured drugs into them for recreational uses and for resale. They have also, and this I reported on, I believe, one of my first streams. See here. This is not it. Putilov. There we go. This is the guy. Egor Putilov. And translate. Oh, right. That's why I didn't translate. Because I have to pick it. I reported on this, I believe, my first streams, because there had just been an election when I started streaming. But this guy is one, he infiltrated the Sweden Democrats, who is Swedish far right populists, and he had been at the top. He has also, after he was found out as a Russian spy, literally, Swedish spy sentencing or spy laws are limited to military and state secrets. You cannot be convinced, or you can be convinced of corporate espionage, but you can't be convinced for sharing information on politicians to Russia, for example. I don't believe you can be convinced for that, which is why he's not in jail. You know, because he didn't commit any criminal acts. However, he was part of the people who have gained power from immigrant-connected criminality. He was at the top of that. And once he was found out, he was let go from that position. He was then hired by a news organization connected to the same political party, to Sweden Democrats. Egor Putilov. Is there an English version? Nope. Of course there isn't. So he had a real estate deal. That's how he did it. There was a real estate deal he did where he was gifted 6 million, probably, something like that. He bought it for like $500,000 or $1 million, and he recouped that cost immediately. And the previous owner had ties, or is himself, a Russian oligarch. have stated that Igor Putlov could have been potentially a security risk working for the Riksdag building. Yeah, he was in our in the Reichstag, in our Riksdag. But no breaches of security regulations are known, and that's why he's not in jail, because he kept it clean. He kept it just outside the criminal law. Let's see, according to his own statement, he had fled torture and homophobic prosecution in Russia together with his boyfriend. They appeared publicly with the story in Stockholm prior to 2005, and Putlov was interviewed under the name Popov in newspaper Kommunit. Another noteworthy circumstance that Igor Putlov had protected personal data between 2012 and November 2017. He has stated that this was because he lived under threat and worked in dangerous area abroad as a journalist. But he had attempted, the original origin of the Putlov affair was that Igor Putlov, under the civil registration name Alexander Friedbach, worked at the Sweden Democrats' parliamentary office in Stockholm Parliament. That's what I'm looking for, not for the Reichstag. While at the same time, he was the originator of what was described as disinformation. The disinformation accusation was based on the fact that he wrote anti-immigration debate articles under the pseudonym Igor Putlov, and at the same time published a provocative pro-refugee article, Give Asylum Seekers and Undocumented Migrants the Right to Vote. And he is connected to Russia. So on the one hand, he works for the party who benefits from him writing an article saying we should give migrants and undocumented migrants the right. Everyone should be able to vote in Sweden. Everyone. Like he's some crazy lefty, you know? And he gets, I'm so infuriated by this. People are so fucking stupid. Under different pseudonym, Tobias Lagerfeld, then Igor Putlov, there was no Tobias Lagerfeld registered in Sweden, and a Lagerfeld photo, a picture of a Russian PR specialist, Alexei Semenov, living in Moscow was used. I have to see that picture. No? Okay. There was no Tobias Lagerfeld. Then became known at the beginning. This became known at the beginning of September 2016. Later in September, the business gained new momentum when it became known that under his then real name, the taken Swedish name Alexander Friedbach, he made a house purchase where the seller was a Russian entrepreneur from St. Petersburg. The property outside of Stockholm was bought at a heavily discounted price of 6 million kronor. That's 600,000 euro. Half as much as the entrepreneur himself paid for the house. The property was then immediately resold by Igor at full market price. In 2 months, a profit of over 6 million kronor was made. He resigned from his position at the Sweden Democrats' parliamentary office when the house affair became known. When the far-right and socially conservative side of Pixar changed its name to Samhällsnytt, Igor Putlov became part of the editorial team. Yeah, the guy who writes articles under a fake pseudonym, portraying themselves as some far-left ideologue wanting to give asylum seekers and anybody who just exists in Sweden. Why don't we just give tourists the right to vote in Sweden as well, huh? They hired that guy who was connected to Russia. Together with the Sweden Democrats' former economic policy spokesperson, Erik Almqvist. The Putlov affair became relevant again in February 2018 when his former client, the newspaper Arbetaren, which is the workers' paper, stated that he had immigrated to Sweden under the name Alexander Yarovenkov by having a fictitious relationship with a female Swedish citizen, and that he had tricked himself into Swedish citizenship. Later in February 2018, it became known that Egor Putlov applied for asylum in Sweden as early in 2003 under the name Yuri Popov, but had his asylum application rejected in 2005. According to his own statement, he had fled torture and homophobic prosecution. Yeah, this we read. Another noteworthy circumstance is that Egor Putlov had protected personal data, blah, blah, we read that. Political attention or questioning surrounding the acquisition of Swedish citizenship have become question whether he's conscious or unconscious Russian agent. Really? But there is no evidence of this. Sure. But it's highly likely. Security experts and leading politicians have stated that Egor Putlov could have been a potential security risk while working in the parliamentary building. But no breaches of security are known. The Swedish Migrant Agency has received cases where Egor Putlov participated in the processing, but no information about inaccuracies has been made public. He doesn't need to. They're looking at his work, but his work might have been legitimate. They need to look at his personal life. They should have looked at his dealings with individuals in the party. Like, what information are they giving him freely, you know? Swedish media have reviewed and commented on Egor Putlov's background. Have published the conclusion that he has not been accused of illegal acts. Egor Putlov's employment in Samhällsnytt has continued after the publicity surrounding his citizenship. Was denied press accreditations to the parliament, no shit, as he was considered a security risk. The parliament administration considered that there was a risk that he would use a press accreditation to obtain information worthy of protection. After Putlov appealed the parliament administration decision, in 2019, the parliament administration again decided to deny Putlov press accreditation. After the parliament accreditation obtained from SAPO that Putlov must have had contact with Russian intelligence services. This led to Putlov reporting SAPO to the ombuds, JO, Justitieombudsmannen. In English, thank you. Okay, we're right. The parliamentary ombudsman. In the same year when he argued that the claim was incorrect. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good luck, brother. Good luck. So, Russia... Hey, socialist. My chat's... No, wait. Is it? No, my chat is not working at the moment on OBS. Hey, how's it going? It's going good. I am just reporting on Russia's infiltration in Sweden and how much of what is going on in Sweden at the moment is their direct fault. And my assessment is that we need to be highly vigilant on what Russia is doing. There we go. Like when Russia becomes less threatening to Europe, when Russia becomes less antagonistic towards Europe, it would be highly I would be highly surprised, very surprised, extremely surprised if we didn't see a market decrease in overall criminal activity in Sweden. I would be highly surprised if we didn't see a less immigrant criminal activity, like criminal activities from immigrants specifically. It is remarkable that we do not have information on this with all that we know at the moment. I don't know if George Santos is a Russian puppet. It is possible, however, because Russia doesn't need to have direct puppets in Congress or Senate or in the House or Senate. They don't need to have direct puppets. What they will do, however, is fund these people because they see them as destabilizing for the region. So they might not be puppets, but the fact that they hold the views they hold is highly is very interesting to Russia. Is very it serves Russia's interests for them to be in positions of power. So if we see funding from Russia, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. At all. They love Fox News. They love Fox News. They have been... haven't they been re-airing or airing Tucker Carlson segments in Russia, like pretty much nonstop, repeatedly aired his segments. So yeah, Fox News is a Russian propaganda machine at this point, pretty much. And I know what Russia defenders like Jimmy Dore, I watched someone else, like just the gray zone in general. I know what they will say about this. They will call all of this Russophobia. They will say, if they ever see this segment, I doubt they will ever do that. But if they ever see this segment, they will absolutely just call it Russophobia and disinformation. Despite the fact that we have court documents, we have data to prove Russia is infiltrating Sweden on a high level, despite the fact that we know they have spies, or had spies at least, within our security offices. We know this, but yet they will still call it Russophobia. Because it's all they have. Your girlfriend's Russian? Break up. It's not even close. No, I'm kidding. That's interesting. I don't mind the Russian culture as well. I am, however, a bit dubious, since they are very connected. The Russian church is very very powerful in Russia. So that part I do not like. But yeah, the Russian culture in general, I don't mind it. It's fine. It's cool. It's cool. It is. It's a bit gaudy for me at times, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, that's what I have to say about the current happenings in Sweden. Yeah, I want to watch some Jubilee. But it's a one... I hate us. Before we watch Jubilee, There's one video first that I want to watch before the Jubilee video. And it's this one. Telosa, America's $400 billion future city. They want to build a city in the middle of the desert. And look at it, is disgusting to look at. But I want to see what they have to say, okay? I want to see what this video is about. I've never heard of Top Luxury, but I'm guessing they are crypto bros. They are jacking off to, the line. They are, they just love these gaudy and disgusting projects, which just cost the public more and more money each and every day, so the rich can isolate themselves from the rest of the world. That's what they love, it seems. So I want to see this. Yeah, it's a scam. It's 100% a scam.
Imagine a sprawling metropolis in the middle of the American desert west.
A sprawling metropolis in the beginning. I can imagine that, and it's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. It's a desert for a reason. It doesn't rain there, okay? You need rain for a city to function, okay? Volts Evero, I do not know what that is. Volts Evero? Volts Evero? I don't know what you mean, socialist. I'm sorry.
Complete with futuristic infrastructure and carefully planned roads and streets filled with autonomous electric vehicles. A city that combines the sprawl and diversity of New York, the efficiency and connectivity of Tokyo, and the governance and sustainability of Stockholm.
In the middle of a city. Oh, Fallout. Yeah, Fallout Vaults. Yeah. In the middle of a desert, you want to build something that is, what's the word? What was it? Can I?
And connectivity of Tokyo and the governance and sustainability.
The sustainability of Stockholm. A city built on islands with water all around. You think you're gonna succeed in the same sustainability? Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
An insane multi-billion-dollar plan to create a futuristic city similar in scale and ambition to Saudi Arabia's The Line.
So it's doomed to fail from the get-go? Got it.
Today, we'll be taking a look at...
Look at this! What the fuck is this? It's like just 2 meters between every one of these rings for some reason. Why do they want to they always want to redesign every little fucking... You're texting and driving, social. Stop that. Stop. I'm not going to read your texts anymore, okay? Stop that. They want to redesign every little thing in this. Every aspect of modern society needs to be redesigned for the future. Like
the future city of Telosa, America's version.
What's this? Flying cars?
Of The Line. The city of Telosa is a planned development that promises to not just be the city of the future, but also to be a completely new model for society. In a similar vein to mega projects like Saudi Arabia's Neom, these planned megacities are a response to the emerging problems of today's world, such as overpopulation, pollution, and climate change. These future cities aim to redefine what it means to create a thriving city from scratch that is...
So they want to combat pollution, climate pollution, climate change. Why? By polluting more? Because that's what you're doing here. You're polluting more.
It's designed to be sustainable, resilient, inclusive, and equitable
for
all of its residents.
It's in the desert, you fuckwits.
From the ancient Greek word telos, which can roughly be translated to the greatest purpose. First unveiled to the public in September 2001, Telosa is the brainchild of American billionaire Mark.
Wait. When? 2001.
Mark Lore, shortly after stepping down as
Mark Lore. I've never heard of him. Mark Lore? Is an American entrepreneur, business investor, and NBA owner. Okay. CNBC reporter Lore is now founder, chairman, and CEO of Wonder Group, Walmart US e-commerce. Lore was appointed in September 2006 to lead Walmart's e-commerce division when his company Jet.com and okay. No obvious. In September 2021. Wait. Didn't they say 2001? Lore announced Telosa. 2021. So these guys are off. I'm gonna trust you on that one, Socialist.
The brainchild of American.
They're off by 20
Mark
years here,
Lore.
it seems.
Shortly after stepping down as president and CEO of American retail powerhouse Walmart, Lore announced his ambitious goal to create the planned city of Telosa. Through his visionary project, he aims to create a more equitable and sustainable future that can become the blueprint of future generations. In charge.
What he's actually doing is using that language by to give rich people, rich fuckwits like himself, an escape from poor people. Imagine if it's not going to happen, but imagine if they actually succeeded in building this. It's going to be so fucking expensive to live here. They're not going to be able to have homeless people there. That's how fucking expensive it is. This is all just a project for rich people to be able to escape the poor people.
Behind the master planning of Telosa will be world-renowned Danish architect Bjarke Ingels, who has previously been commissioned by Toyota to create a smaller, smart future city in Japan. The core concept behind Telosa, and the reason as to why it's being planned in the first place...
Wait. Why am I just... I'm so sorry. Have I not been... I am so off my game today. I just need to go back here. Okay, it's just a few minutes. Thank God. I'm sorry about that.
Place, according to Lore, is to create a city with the needs of the people serving as its foundation.
To focus on what's most important, culture, values, and really putting people at the center.
As it stands, more than 50% of the world's population currently lives in cities. This figure is expected to increase to as much as 70% by the year 2050. Because of this, cities have become important centers for education, research, and economic opportunities for millions of people. And although cities have brought much growth to a few handful of individuals, not everyone directly benefits from the development. This increasing wealth gap is precisely what Lore and Telosa are trying to solve. The goal is to build a city wherein everyone will have equal opportunities for growth, no matter their socioeconomic or cultural background.
Bullshit!
To achieve this vision of equality, at the heart of the plan is...
Equitism? Equitism! We're inventing new words. Equitism. Equitism. We're calling this new economic model equitism, with the mission of creating more equitable future. Okay, so what is equitism? With all the progress we've made in the last 100 years, why are so many people still barely getting by? I wonder why, Mr. Billionaire. Why are people barely getting by? Like many Americans, we've watched the country grow from more more and more divided. And while capitalism has driven so much growth and innovation, it's far from perfect. No shit. It's inherently not perfect. It can't be perfect. There are varying opinions on how to solve this, from increasing taxes for the wealthy and raising wages to capping the top, reforming the education system and providing more affordable housing. But across the board, we haven't been able to agree on a proper path forward. Of course not. Oh, the libertarians and the socialists can't agree on a solution. Yeah. Because we can't agree on the problem. God. And as time goes on, the gaps in wealth and in income inequality only get wider. So we started asking, how can we do better? While researching, we came across the late 19th century book called Progress and Poverty. In it, economist Henry George argues... Stop that. In it, economist Henry George argues that a real problem with capitalism is land ownership. It's a big one at least. There's a finite amount of land, and land owners essentially have a monopoly. In addition, once the land has been claimed and given rise to communities, its value continues to increase without the landowners actually having to provide anything. Yeah, I can agree with that. But what if we did it differently? And that land was owned by a community endowment instead? What if we took that land appreciation and put back into the community that had actually created the value? It was inspiring to think about the possibilities. What if, for instance, we could pay the same taxes as you do today, but get the best social services of any country in the world? What the fuck is he talking about? At first, it seemed impossible to turn back the clock and test our ideas. After all, the land was already claimed, that the city's already built, but in reality, there's actually plenty of land still available in the United States. And we realized that the best way to demonstrate the new economic model would be to start with a clean slate and build a city from scratch. If we bought, say, 200,000 acres and build a city of 5 million people, it's just Brasilia once more. Then those acres would go from being worth nothing to being worth about $1 trillion. And if the community sold the land and created an endowment similar to a university or hospital endowment, they could earn $50 billion a year. $50 billion that would go back to the citizens of the former in the form of healthcare, education, jobs training, and affordable housing and more. And they call this equitism. And once we thought through the model and the chance of building a new city from the ground up, our thinking evolved as we thought about what's possible when you start from scratch. Our mission soon became not only create a more equitable future, but a more sustainable one as well. Oh my God. 100% renewable energy. Good fucking luck with that in the middle of a fucking desert. 20% versus zero food residency. Food residency? 90% water reduction in the middle of a fucking desert. 0% waste gold, 0 autonomous mobility emission. What's that? I don't know. 500 square feet per capita open space. What? We're not building a private city or a political utopia, nor is this a project. Guys, he's not building a political utopia. He's just invented a new political idea. Nor is this a project that has any sort of return for us personally, but we're incredibly proud that we're putting people at its center. We've started with a mission and a set of values: open, fair, inclusive. And we'll be taking demonstrable steps to live these values better than any other city in the world. We've assembled a growing, diverse team of experts, but none of them are poor or socialists, I'm sure. To ask and address all the right questions, because it's not only about creating the city of Toulouse itself, which we hope will set a new standard for urban living. It's about building a city with a soul, a city focused on actual human being. It's about creating opportunity and equality, celebrating diversity and inclusion without any history. This is so fucking American. And providing a sense of pride for where we live is so fucking American. In the end, whether this project works the way we intend it to or not, it's not going to do that. But I like that they have a clause where they give themselves, a fallback, a plan B. There's an unbelievable amount we can learn. No, there's not. It's not going to work. It's not going to work, period. And if we get this right, it could serve as a blueprint for a new economic model to benefit the world for generations to come. Because when you get right down to it, the most important questions are, how can we create a better world for our kids and grandkids? Easy. Stop being a fucking billionaire. How much happier could we be? This place will go Mad Max in no time. Yeah, one person controlling all the water. Here you go, some water. There's enough. You shouldn't get reliant on water, I say as I drink my water. Good water. But you shouldn't become reliant on water. Just let me have all the water, okay?
Is an economic system known as equitism. The idea behind this system is to create a community wherein the people will directly benefit from the growth of the city. In this system, Toulouse will own all of the city's land, while its citizens are given the freedom to build.
And who the fuck will own Toulouse? Not this guy. Not this guy. He won't own Toulouse. No.
Sell homes on top of
this. Oh my god. You will own nothing. Is this what they mean by the Great Reset? You will own nothing?
Could you please point me?
Shut up. I just wanted... own nothing, be happy. You might have heard that phrase. It started life as a screenshot called from the internet by an anonymous anti-Semitic account on the image board 4chan. Own nothing, be happy. But it was said at the World Economic Forums, wasn't it? How own nothing and be happy sparked a misinformation campaign. However, this is own nothing, be happy in action.
Of this land. Ideally, as the city grows, land values will also grow alongside it. These generated funds will then be invested back into the city through public services, transportation, education, and healthcare, thus fulfilling the vision of equity, wherein all citizens have equal access to high-quality services. Although the final location for the city of Toulouse has not been decided, the people behind it are planning to build the city on desert land in the American West, in the states of Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, or Texas. Another consideration is for the city to be built somewhere around the Appalachian region.
That's probably a better location.
But out of all the available land in the United States, why are they planning to build Toulouse in the middle of the desert? One of the main reasons for this decision is that there is plenty of cheap and readily available undeveloped land in the American West.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I wonder why. Saudi Arabia poop trucks. This is gonna be that city. There's no audio?
Poop. Yes, poop. Carrying the human
There.
waste of Dubai.
These trucks, every fucking morning.
These trucks were also carrying human waste collected from the large building, the Burj Khalifa itself, and other major centers. To have a better understanding of the problem, let us first try to understand how Dubai was built. Each and every project in Dubai is sponsored by its government. To reduce the economic dependency on oil and gas revenues, Dubai's stakeholders targeted the tourism industry. By targeting tourism, Dubai attracts a lot of business from all around the globe. Dubai's tax policies are highly welcoming, as there are no income or sales taxes. Since the tax revenues is not surplus, any new project in Dubai is based upon debt, construction, advertisement, and running cost of any project in Dubai, including the Burj
This
Khalifa,
is gonna be
accumulates
Toulouse.
a lot of debt, and the overall debt of Dubai is
Toulouse,
more than
whatever its
GDP.
name.
Countries like the US have a much higher debt to GDP ratio as well, but unlike Dubai, they have strong and constant sources of income via taxation. Dubai relies on
So that's gonna be that. There's gonna be poop truck. There's gonna be water trucks going in and out every fucking day. That's just reality. Issue with developers. What you mean? They can't find a developer for the place? Yeah, nobody wants to build this. I'm sure. Considering how it's gonna look. I just want some. They have a whole page for it. Yeah, no.
West, and with Tolosa's plan of reimbursing increasing land values back into city services, this cheap land has the potential to pay for itself as the city grows over time. Although the land for Tolosa's eventual construction may come at a relatively cheap price, building a bustling metropolis in the middle of the desert isn't exactly the most ideal or even smartest undertaking.
Even this video, which is just a jerk-off video, admits it. Even they admit it.
Saudi Arabia's recent construction on Neom and the Line have clearly showcased these problems that Tolosa might encounter as well as in the future. Initially planned to be partially completed by 2020 and expanded upon in 2025,
Partially completed 2020, really? 2020.
Neom's construction is already behind schedule. It turns out that building on undeveloped desert land first requires the construction of operating facilities to house construction equipment and personnel in the unforgiving climate. Some other problems that Neom and the Line are currently facing right now are high temperatures, water availability, and the energy impact of constructing an entire city from scratch in a harsh environment. Tolosa is also planned to be fully powered through renewable sources of energy. Each building in the city will have photovoltaic cells installed on their roofs, while strategically placed wind turbines across the city's borders will provide additional capacity to power Tolosa. The city is planned to generate more power than what it consumes, making it a self-sustaining city when it comes to electricity generation.
Bullshit.
Additionally, at the heart of Tolosa
Bullshit.
will be the Equitism Tower, the city's tallest structure that will serve as an iconic landmark and a beacon for the city. The tower will house an observation.
I mean, this is just disgusting to look at. Ugh. This is just futurism from a billionaire's perspective. They're trying so hard to go to solar punk. This is what you want. This is 100% what I want to build. I want to be able to live in a cottage. You know, there's greenery, there's sunshine, there's rain, there's...
The land is more than just dirt.
This is what they think they're building.
It will feed you forever. You're a smart one. I know you'll be okay come rain or shine. And remember, a business is only as good as its people. So treat them well. our job.
God, I wish this was true. They wish that was what they're building. Yeah, everything looks like a PS5. Yeah. But what they're building actually, what this is gonna be, is gonna be Cyper. I mean, this is what it's gonna be. This is how it's gonna turn out. One person, Mark, whatever his name is gonna own everything. And he's just gonna reap the rewards. And everyone else is gonna slave for him.
Deck, an elevated water storage system, and aeroponic farms that will supply the city with fresh produce. Another consideration of Tolosa's layout is an urban design and transportation system that makes it possible for residents to always be within only a 15-minute commute of key locations and services such as offices, schools, parks, shops, and
So this, Barcelona, Barcelona. Did they steal much, perhaps? The difference is the Barcelona is organically built. It's this sprawl has been built in stages. It's not designed like this. And all of these squares, inside of them are small communities. Barcelona super blocks. So you can't drive. Yeah, you can see here. You can't drive in with a car. There are areas for people to be in. There's playgrounds. There's shops. There's walkable areas. I highly doubt this is going to be walkable areas.
and restaurants. Unlike the line, which will be completely pedestrian-centric with a focus on mass transit, Tolosa will use a mix of carefully planned transit systems and autonomous electric vehicles. The city will make use
Why the autonomous electric vehicles? Why? You just need trains or trams or whatever, you know?
the superblock concept of urban planning, wherein heavier traffic is concentrated over on the borders of the block, while bikes and slow-moving EVs will be given priority on inner streets. This achieves two goals. One, ensuring that people can easily move around between blocks, and second,
If he's so powerful, if he's so rich, why doesn't he lobby for, you know, New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, Chicago, big massive cities, Miami, big massive cities to become more walkable? Why this building a new city in the middle of the desert?
so that
I'm not.
residential areas will be
let
far enough away from
me
major
look at that
streets
afterwards.
to avoid excessive noise. The construction of Tolosa will be divided into two phases. The first phase is ambitiously set to be completed by the year 2030. By this point in the development, the city would be capable of housing as many as 50,000 residents over an area of 6 square kilometers, which is roughly twice the size of New York Central Park.
What are they gonna
Once
do?
completed, the second phase of the development aims to fully build the rest of the city over the course of the next 40 years. Over 5 million people are expected to live within the city by this point, with a total area of more than 120 square kilometers. By comparison, the city of Tolosa will be as big as the city of San Francisco, but with more than 6 times its population living in the same area. In total, the entire project is estimated to cost as much as $400 billion to complete, with funding primarily
So this is what's so infuriating. Where does this Mark guy, Tolosa? What's that? Telosa. What's his name? Mark something. Come on, Mark. Mark. Where do you live, Mark? Mark Lore. Where do you live? And how much of a fucking NIMBY are you? Staten Island. He lives in Staten Island. There's no fucking way this guy isn't a NIMBY to new project. Like a new building's gonna be built? Nah, I don't think so. It's gonna drive down my housing profits. Okay, let's not build new houses for cheap. Okay, that's just gonna bring in poor people. This is a paradise playground for rich people. That's it. And they're building it in the middle of the desert so they can't have NIMBYs. Because there's not going to be anybody living there.
Potential private investors and federal and state grants. In comparison, Saudi Arabia's The Line is estimated to cost a similar $500 billion US, which, unlike Tolosa, is completely funded by Saudi's sovereign wealth fund and, by extension, the Saudi government. With Tolosa's highly ambitious plan and vision for the future, Mark Lohr and his team have to overcome one of the biggest hurdles with the construction of planned cities like these.
I recognize her. Who's that bitch? Mark. Let's see here. The Junto Group? Why do I recognize her? What's she been in? What's she done? Does she just resemble someone? Reimagining the workplace. A TEDx talk.
She lived right upstairs from me all day long. And then begging my mom to sleep over my best friend's house. Rosie Dunn. Yep. See, I didn't need a cover because I hadn't experienced any pain. Yes, even in a predominantly white neighborhood. It changed my outlook on life forever. See, this change took place when I was 7 years old. As the woman proclaimed with pride, blacks don't belong in my neighborhood.
Oops. Come on.
My mom.
White.
It's just going to be sob stories. Never mind.
Funding. It's not exactly easy to convince the government and private investors to lend you billions of dollars into creating a vision that may not be fully realized. And even though Tolosa promises to be different by saying that its people will be at the center of the city's development, it will still need a huge sum of money to even begin this insane megaproject. But despite all the mounting environmental and financial challenges, and with no construction work having been started more than a year after the project was first announced, Mark Lohr and his team are still optimistic and determined to fulfill their vision of the most sustainable and inclusive city in the world by the year 2030. What do you think Tolosa...
But you're building it in the middle of the fucking... I can't stress that enough. It's in the middle of the fucking desert. What the future will look like? Yeah. And I think that they can build sustainable cities in a matter of 10 years. Noobs. Not even 10 years. There probably wasn't on 2021 actually. Lack of water is going to be a huge constraint if they place the city in the wrong place. Let's build another city in the middle of the desert. It's in a drought-stricken area. Yeah. Nobody seems to be buying it. Fun fact, meaning close out. Blah, blah, blah. It seems like a good idea for the city. Great video. One major constraint of an industry project like this large will be access to raw materials. Yeah. steel and aluminium. Even the US brings some refining, smelting capacity. 10 years later, this guy's animated. Yeah, no, this is never gonna happen, guys. Never ever will Telosa be built. Let's. These are just megalomaniac. Blah, blah. These are just megalomaniacs building their dream projects for money they stole from other workers. That's all it is. They stole the money from their workers, and now they think they have some grand idea because they have accumulated this money, and therefore they must be better than everyone else. Just look at Elon Musk. I will come in and I will sort Twitter out in a day or two. There's not going to be a problem. Max tops a week, a month. It's just going down the shitter. Hello, awesome Twitch dude. It's just going down the shitter. There's... in Twitter, I mean then. Twitter is just going down the shitter. This guy, if he ever starts construction, it's not going to lead anywhere. It's just going to be another billionaire project for his own personal gratitude. Gratitude? Is that the word I'm looking for? Nah, that's not. His own personal. Fuck, I'm not getting the word right. He just wants to be the dictator of one place. Because like they said on their website, if this doesn't work, if equitism doesn't work, well, we've learned something at least, which is just a cop-out. All the fancy words before that, it can all fail, and he can still call it a success. Worst Civ starting position, yeah. Pleasure, thank you, yes. Funnily enough, that was too far behind my frontal cortex to reach me, unfortunately. Yeah, worst Civ starting position by a mile. And he wants to build the world's most equitable and sustainable city ever. Highly doubt it. Hey, Panks. You are gonna be bad. Why would I ever watch hentai? And if I did, why would I ever tell you? What? How do I... There we go. Okay. That's enough. I have never reacted to a Jubilee video. I've talked about it. I've teased it. I've considered it. I've even said I would, but I never done it. They're on Twitch, Social Lust. I'm dual streaming at the moment, or currently trying it out. Yeah, I've never watched that much of Jubilee myself, even, but I've seen other streamers react to it, and it looks fun. It's a fun group activity you can do where you can shit on people, you can root for people. They do good quality videos, in my opinion. So, does feminism include trans women? Female feminists versus anti-feminists. This can go both ways. This can go both ways. Let's see. On the last episode.
And saying feminists don't care about it. And you say, you think that all women just are against men.
To answer your question, yeah. You're talking about women. Women are not all feminists.
Yeah.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist.
I think the concept of anti-feminism is
Oh no. Oh no. Scarcella's there.
counterintuitive as a woman. Like, everyone should want equality of the sexes, you know? Everyone should want to have the same education level, the same all these things in a position and still make as much as a person who identifies as male.
In this society.
Oh shit. I completely forgot, by the way. What was the Tesla tunnel incident? Oh, this one. Yeah. I saw that. Shut up. I saw this. Look at it. Look at, here it comes. Here it comes. Or here it comes, perhaps. There it is. No. Where is it? There it is. We see the blinking. There's nothing in front of it. Why is it stopping? And it's just causing everyone. You can see the pile up. Oh, there's gonna be so much pain for this. This is like, what the fuck? It just piles up and piles up and piles up. Yeah, you can see here the aftermath, the calamity. Yeah.
We have to be feminists as women because there's certain things going on where our rights are being stripped away, and Black women, Black trans women are more likely to be murdered and attacked, and that's absolutely a feminist issue, and that's something that everyone should care about.
Everyone of any gender expression, men included, should be feminist. I think there are different brands of feminism, if you will, that don't represent what I think all of us here feel is the true ideal of what feminism
Absolutely. And I don't think that everyone has to be active as a feminist in the exact same way. Like, not everybody can march, not everybody can protest, not everybody can really be an advocate for feminism.
At the end of the day, it's taking a look at patriarchal systems and seeing the flaws in those systems and how they negatively impact everyone.
Okay, pause on that thought. And the disagreeers step forward.
Define woman. Go.
Immediately to the talking points, straight away. Define woman.
Please, one of you.
A person who their internal idea of what they are is...
Wait, I hate Scarcella. I hate her so fucking much. Immediately, as someone was starting to talk, someone answered her question. She said, nope.
A woman. Terrible definition. Coming from a lesbian, that destroys the very concept of our sexual orientation. Just saying that it's an idea.
Why?
Go fuck yourself.
Why? Because you can't be connected and sexually attracted to somebody's brain.
Let's make sure to keep it to the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist. Why do y'all disagree with that?
Okay. I completely disagree. You know, exactly 2 years ago, if I had done this, I probably would be a feminist. But then I started to look at, and I think the agreeers actually mentioned this, like, what do Black women gain from feminism? Because I remember even during Black Lives Matter, when I led 2 protests for Black women.
Oh, watch it.
And I counted how many white women I saw there, and the ones who were there, who were just there to take pictures for social media, and then the Black men also hiding behind us. Everyone, the whole world hides behind Black women. Enough.
Same thing that's happening. Look what's happening in Iran. People on the feminist side right now are not speaking up for those Iranian women. I have a friend that is a trans woman living in...
What are you talking about, Scarcella? Of course they are.
Iran right now. It's miserable. Nobody stands up for that poor girl.
As a woman, I particularly think I'm a...
Who do you think is marching at the forefront in Iran? What is a woman? Yeah. Who do you think marches in the forefront of Iran? The Iranian women liberation. Now, I don't call myself a feminist, but I highly align with feminist ideas. Of course, there are feminists who are marching and removing the hijabs. Of course.
Humanist. For example, 2 years ago, I was a raging feminist, and I made a decision to pivot my platform, teach Black women how to sit in our feminine energy because we've never experienced that.
Well, that just sounds like Black feminism to me, teaching women how to do that in the time that we are in now.
But we're not learning fast enough. We deserve to rest, we deserve to relax, we deserve to choose if we want to be a traditional wife. I went from law to being a CEO to now I just want to be a housewife. And every time I say that, I get so much hate. Like, women work so hard to get to this point. Why do you want to be a housewife?
Because that's what you
my
want.
choice.
That's what you want. That's the whole
choice.
Feminism is all about choice.
Exactly. Why can't I choose? That's the whole point of feminism. It's like, why can't I choose? What are you missing in America to claim that you are oppressed as a woman?
Well, we just had our rights to our own uteruses stripped away.
The right to murder your own baby, though. I mean.
Oh my God! Fuck you! Fuck you!
It's a clump of cells.
I mean, we all are clump of cells right here.
I think everybody's going to agree and disagree.
Yeah,
on
that's
that,
a whole.
I don't know if that's another topic. That's another topic.
I had a very, very hard time not stepping up to that prompt because my whole life I did consider myself a feminist. Seeing how this modern wave of feminism has now turned into something very different than equal rights. We all want equal. Of course, we want equal rights. We want equality as women. Of course.
But how can you have equal rights when you can't define the word woman on the far left?
Alta had a Women's Day recently, and
Why is this just the talking point? Like, why? Go back. This bitch is gonna claim like XY chromosomes and a pussy and all that. Go back 100 years. They had a completely different definition. Definitions change. They are living, breathing objects. We don't just. There's no objectivity in definitions.
Wednesday was celebrated by 2 trans women who still had their male parts. I mean, you're pushing women out of womanhood.
I'm sure we're going to have discussions about whether or not a trans woman is a woman, but I actually want to go back to how we feel that our ideal of feminism is probably not the way that you four think of feminism. I'm willing to bet.
I agree with that. I think that's why people like me stepped away from that. Not because we're not women empowered or believe in women empowerment.
It's because we are women empowered.
It's because we believe women empowerment means something different than what you guys believe in.
And what I'm seeing now, pause there. We're going to reset. Next prompt. There's no wrong reason to get an abortion.
I can see a wrong reason. Revenge being one of them. It's. I can see there's a wrong reason for an abortion. There's going to be few of them. I don't think we should restrict people's access to abortion because of them. But I can see there are wrong reasons for abortions. Scarcella, what are you doing?
Okay. If you were making a health decision between you and a medical professional that is the right decision for you, your body, your future, it is always the right decision.
I would never stand between anyone with a uterus from making a decision about their body.
No, yeah, they're like, you can do it. You can have this health. You can have this health care if you are a victim of incest or a victim of rape. It's like you should be able to have access to that. What if you want it? You know, it's the same as going into the doctor and getting a routine check. If there's something for your body that you think will, you know, not just benefit you, but help you live and also help you sustain an actual good life for your child, then that's what you need to do.
And financial is a huge thing too.
It is a huge thing.
It's an extremely huge financial.
I want to see what Scarcella has to say.
And some people just don't have that means.
I agree and disagree. I'm definitely pro-choice. I'm probably the only anti-feminist that's pro-choice.
Being pro-choice, pro-abortion is actually very common. It's like 78% of Americans.
Okay, so yeah.
There's actually many people who are in your category.
To me, it makes sense in certain circumstances. I don't think people should be using abortion as a form of birth control. I think, to me, abortion's, believe it or not even the issue
It is a
we're
form of
talking about right now. I feel like we need to be talking about how to properly educate people, no matter what their status is, no matter what their sexual orientation, whatever. And we need to go from there.
Well, I think I have a very interesting perspective on this because my mother opened the first Planned Parenthood in our state. And
Oh,
she
damn.
is very pro-abortion.
She must be very disappointed.
But inwardly in our home, we weren't allowed to do it. And so growing up at that dichotomy
Bitch.
really, I think, messed me up a lot because I was like, okay, which one is the truth?
Yeah.
There are wrong reasons to get an abortion. A wrong reason to get an abortion is if you are going through your pregnancy and all of a sudden you change your mind. If you are irresponsible and all of a sudden finding yourself scared of motherhood.
When people say that that women are getting abortions because they just don't want to be pregnant anymore, they're not actually understanding the way that an abortion works. Most of the time they're talking about late-term abortions, and what a lot of people don't realize is when you have that kind of abortion, you have to give birth to the fetus. There's no going back. You're literally giving birth to a body. It's never just a, whoop, I don't feel like being pregnant anymore. Guess these last 8 months I just wasted everything. No, no one's doing that.
I'm certain that doctors performing the abortion will inform the mother of this, or the pregnant person of this. I'm sure of that.
Raising children is the most blessed gift. And I am...
For you. Not everyone is going to feel a blessing from a child.
I speak as someone who, when I found out that I was expecting for the first time, I kid you not, I was terrified.
Of course you are.
No. I was not necessarily prepared. I was not prepared. And I was very much caught off guard.
What a fucking bitch.
And I was terrified because I had an incredible career happening for me. On the upswing.
Finances.
I had, let me finish, I had such a dramatic, fearful reaction to becoming a mother because of what our society has been telling me throughout my adolescence and my early 20s, is that once you become a mother, it's all over and it ends. And that is a very, very deeply rooted problem in our society that I do think we need to address.
That sentiment is the patriarchy in action, though.
What is the patriarchy?
What isn't the patriarchy? I feel like that's the better question. It's a systemic ideal that favors masculinity, men,
male power, male dominance,
the traditional idea of what a man is.
The patriarchy is a system that oppresses not just women, but everyone.
It's not...
Okay. As lacking as that last definition was, that is the one that I would probably agree with most. Patriarchy does not favor men. Patriarchy does not give men a handout. It doesn't give men an upper hand to women when it comes to opportunity, necessarily. We can see this in the court system. We see this with child rearing. We see this with, I don't know, but I'm guessing adoption agencies are also going to be a bit hesitant when it comes to giving gay couples children to raise. This is also part of the patriarchy. The patriarchy, however, is a system that benefits some men, a system which favors an elite group of men over everyone else. In Sweden, in 1918, women got the right, no, 1919, but had got the right to vote, but their first vote was cast in 1921. Men, prior to this, or during this, so men got the right to vote in 1909, but was able to cast their first vote in 1911. However, this was only if they had served in the armed force. I believe there was something. Yeah, here the demand to let me just translate this quick. What's värnplikt in English? I know this word. It's fine. Where was I? Military service. Anyway, a few years later, after the women had cast their votes, men got the right to vote without having to serve in the military. And then a few years down the road, in the 60s or somewhere, everyone, even if they have been locked up or whatever, are able to vote. Prior to this, landowners were able to vote. And landowners were always, in 99% of the case, men. In some cases, when they only had a daughter, the family, that's when you saw women were able to vote. But yeah, so the patriarchy doesn't always favor men, but the patriarchy focuses on men. But it favors a select group of elite men, primarily.
Not patriarchy, because the people who scared me so much were the women mom bloggers.
Just because it's coming from a woman, coming from women does not mean that
these
it's
were
not
the
from the patriarchy.
These were the women, and I speak with really strong conviction about this. The women who are publicly outward.
She's familiar.
To other women through blogs, through social media, talking about, my life is so hard because of my kids. Oh, my kids are jerks. Oh, life is this. I have no money. Those messages are very, very pervasive, and they're very dangerous, and they're toxic.
But they're also real parts of motherhood. We just discussed how motherhood.
How many of you are mothers here?
I am not a mother, but
okay, I am a mother of 12 years.
Okay.
And I know all of the very, very hard parts of motherhood. And I just wish, as someone who has actually, as the only person here who has gone through this motherhood experience, from the bottom of my heart.
So I just went on her Instagram, on air, online. I hope that's great. PragerU Kids. That's where I recognize her. PragerU Kids.
Wish that the positive aspects of motherhood supersede
Anything she says is going to be propaganda from the right.
all of the hard stuff.
Let's get back on prompt again. There's no wrong reason to get an abortion. Isabella,
I want
to hear from Isabella.
There's been so many points I want to talk
I was gonna
about.
talk about Candace, maybe. Candace, what she says about.
I don't even know what she said.
Oh,
Just let her talk.
Sorry.
Well, my parents actually had me when they were 19, and thank God they didn't abort me. They were not ready. They were in a terrible situation, and having me at 19 made them grow up and mature and become adults and not continue being on a bad.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I cannot have kids right now. There's not a fucking chance that I can have a kid. Not because I couldn't grow up, but because I have a condition. I have a mental condition which makes me very, not unlikely, very highly not suited to have a kid yet. Doesn't mean I won't have kids in the future. just means I won't have kids right now. I will highly discourage any woman who is with me. My current girlfriend, I will highly discourage her from having kids. We've talked about this. It's not in the books at the moment. If she gets pregnant for some fucking reason or contraception doesn't work, I hope she gets an abortion. Because I won't be the father I wish I could be. But this bitch.
Bad path. So I'm thankful for that. And a lot of, something that you said it's society's, I think it was about society's pushing this idea, like demonizing motherhood, and you said that's part of the patriarchy. Well, I would ask you this, don't you think men benefit from women getting abortions because they no longer have to deal with it? They can just sleep around, and if, God forbid, a woman gets pregnant, oh, she wants to abort it. Cool, now I'm off the hook.
What is the patriarchy?
I don't even know what that men oppress us and like.
That everything that goes wrong, that men are to blame. And I don't think that's a healthy way of being.
Very happy to live under this so-called patriarchy.
This word patriarchy, it does not make any sense to me. Women are not oppressed in America.
Patriarchal society doesn't bother me. Like Marilyn Monroe says, as long as I can be all of a woman in it, I am not bothered.
Oh. As long as I get mine, I am happy. Oh. Okay, sure.
The feminist movement is inherently racist.
Of course.
The feminist movement does not benefit POC in any shape or form. It especially does not benefit Black women. And the darker your skin is, the more you are used. I call us, Black women, as the bullets for the feminist movement.
If we're talking historically, if we're talking how feminist movements started, it was an exclusionary movement.
Absolutely.
If we go back to the suffragettes or even further, Black women were not allowed to join in that effort because they really weren't fighting for Black women.
Until we were used as bullets.
Right.
If we're not being used, we can't be part of the movement.
They did use Black women. They used Black women's efforts because most of the most achievements that feminism, you're right, like most of the achievements of feminism have been done by Black women, and white women have stepped in and taken the credit for like people who do identify as feminists, especially those of us who are white. I think the most important thing for us to do is to sit down, shut up, and listen to Black women.
I hate that. I hate that so fucking much. Oh my fucking God. Sit down and shut up and listen to Black women. Or I might not listen to Candace Owens. Just a grand old thought. Maybe Candace Owens isn't an authority.
As a feminist, my work
AJ, who's
Black
she?
Women. So to say that, of course, like white women were able to vote before Black women. Like the feminist movement was inherently racist, but how I live my life and the way that the community that I've built around myself of Black feminists, we see.
But why label it feminism?
Well,
why not
you can label it whatever you want, but
helping other Black women.
I affirm you, and I
Don't
see
you
that the
think that's
semantics makes you uncomfortable because feminism was racist, but you
It
have
is
to,
still racist,
but you're not racist. So if you are not racist and you have issues that you want to be working towards for Black women, that doesn't mean that you're inherently being racist or helping white women. I think feminism exists on a spectrum.
We're talking about semantics. We're talking about terms. They evolve and they change. Ideologies change. Right. And I think that feminism is evolving and changing. And I think it's because of the work of people like you. And so that's why I can confidently say.
It's evolving. It's not evolving. I think it's devolving. I think third wave feminism, by all accounts, I see, again, have a very powerful Black mother, a very feminist Black mother. And I would never forget this as she's battling cancer and I'm holding her hand in bed and she's married to my dad who's a very passive man. He's a professor, but very passive, and let her took the front. She waited for my dad to leave the room and said, maybe you can find a man to take care of you. And this is I'm sorry. My mom is like, she's like this thing that's bigger than life. She's so big, like untouchable, like, like powerful, and no one could tell her, and just to see her weak. And her only regret now is that she never got to rest and she never met a man to take care of her.
So feminism, one of the issues with feminism, which I can agree with this woman on, is it forces women, or it doesn't do this. It can force women into experiencing the need to always be in power, you know, never being able to relinquish power. I can see that as an inherent problem with feminism. I think in any good relationship, there's a give and take. There's a back and forth. There's a, you're good at this, I'll relinquish that to you. I'm good at this, let me take charge of this. There's always going to be that. And if you find a man who, or a woman or whatever, a partner who can't allow you to take over in certain instances, you're not going to be able to develop that. We see this a lot with men in the home. Women take over their man, the chores, because they don't trust the man, because they don't allow the man to develop. I don't think you can hear, but some beeping noise outside. Oh my god! A lot of women don't allow their man to do things their way. You know, they always want to double check. They always want to no, you did this wrong. This is how you do it. And the man goes, fuck it. I'll allow you to do it then. And then they just sit down, roll their thumbs, and go on with their married day. And 10 years down the line, the woman's going to go, why are you such a slob? You made me this way. So I think there's some inherent issue in that. But I don't think it's up to women only to fix this, of course.
Even though my dad is incredible in his own way, but she never experienced what it feels like to be a woman. And I refuse to. I would rather die alone than experience a marriage like that. After 40 years of fighting and being a feminist, you know, and she is...
Scarcella, fuck you.
No one wants to say they did.
Don't nod like that.
But she's saying, man,
oh, it's not Scarcella. Sorry. Sorry.
I love how you get your hair done and you go get makeup done and you're so... And she says it, you know, like she wasn't there in the household to raise us, like back to motherhood, because she was gone fighting every single day for women's rights to come home and be exhausted by the time she gets home. And we never got to have a mother, you know.
When I scroll my own...
Wait. So this woman, she's at the forefront fighting for women's rights. And then this girl, her daughter, takes advantage of that. Actually takes advantage of the rights she has gained through her mother's struggle. And she shits in the face of it. Instead of recognizing, and the mother apparently doesn't recognize this either, that her fighting led to her daughter being able to be the way she is.
Social media feed, I rarely see a powerful woman highlighted who is not an ethnicity. No. It's true.
I'm using them as pawns.
Using them as pawns.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of big brands are now hopping on this, modern feminism bandwagon, which I don't agree with.
Hillary
what
Clinton?
Modern feminism is.
Anybody? Hillary Clinton. Have we forgotten about her?
A big brand that comes to mind is Dove. Diversity is always a good thing. However, I, for years, have not seen any kind of a ad campaign from the brand Dove speaking to women's empowerment that includes
They said I was too pretty.
Wait.
Fight. Now she can't fight. You're gonna mess up that beautiful face.
They said I was too fat. Only skinny girls can dress well.
On me regarde la tête aux pieds. Comment peut-elle être avocate?
They said I didn't dress for my age.
They said my nose was too prominent.
They said I was too masculine.
They thought the catcalling was a compliment.
He said, you can fix those teeth quite easily.
Boyish and ugly. When they were talking about female, they weren't talking about me.
This was not pretty.
They would holler from across the street.
Look sophisticated.
Embarrassing nose. Too chubby.
Was too skinny.
Manly.
Crazy hair.
Never looked good.
Too wild.
I just want the
Too fat.
He said.
They said.
She said
the group
I
shot.
said, no way. You aren't me. I'm
White.
me.
I'm not gonna be
White.
defined by anyone's expectations.
I don't dress my
White.
age. I dress myself the way I am.
Because my face
White.
has nothing to do with my boxing. I'm ranked #1 in the country, #2 in the world.
As a fashion blogger, my style is 100% unapologetic.
I don't want to change my teeth.
Le physique n'a rien à voir avec mes compétences.
Whitish.
This is my hair.
My beauty.
White. White.
My say.
White. But according to this bitch,
Diversity is always a good thing. However, for years, have not seen any kind of a ad campaign from the brand Dove speaking to women's empowerment that includes a woman that looks like us. What modern feminism today is lacking, I think, is genuine respect for diversity of opinion for all women.
If you felt modern day feminism.
yeah, okay, she's absolutely talking about right-wingers here. She's absolutely talking about Republican women. Yeah, the feminist movement is gonna be left-wing. Period. Period. It's inherently left-wing.
Didn't hijack all points of view of women, that you would still identify as a feminist?
Yes. Yes.
Wait.
If you felt modern day feminism didn't hijack all points of view of women, that you would still identify as a feminist?
Yes.
I don't even understand the question.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the entire time everyone was talking, all I was thinking was, wow, I'm so sick of all these labels and all these different intersections. And these days there's more intersections than genders. And I'm just like, all these identity politics groups, we're just pitting each other against each other. Race keeps getting brought up. I know it's brought up in the prompt for this one, but in every single other one. And I don't even think about this. I don't even think that I'm not being represented even in ads. I don't care. It just does. I don't. Sure. I am me.
I'm sure you don't care.
You don't have to care. Thank you for letting me know that. You always know, feminists always know best for me.
Oh, what a bitch.
That's what I've noticed. It's a trend.
I mean, I'm just pointing out that you are a privileged white woman who has not had to see the lack of diversity. When we step into a room filled with other white people, we don't notice that it's other white people. But when women of color have stepped into rooms and they see that it's just a bunch of other white people.
Also, intersectionality is not just about diversity, and it's certainly not about diversity in ad campaigns. It's about how poor women can't afford to drive to another state to get an abortion, but rich women can. It costs more money to...
So, you're not gonna notice this bitch would feel right at home around here, you know? Not there. Here. She would walk in here to this crowd and not notice that it's just a bunch of white people. I think she'd notice this room, however. Do you think she'd notice this room? Do you think she'd feel represented in this room?
A drive to get an abortion than it would take to raise that kid?
Well,
Just saying.
but that's the thing, right? Like, if you don't have the money to drive to get an abortion, how are you going to have the money to raise that child? Why should you be forced into motherhood?
Reset. Feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society.
I can agree with that, somewhat, at least.
I mean, feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men.
Okay.
They say they hate men while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for having power and the patriarchy, so they're trying to overtake it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture. But guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man. Women are nurturers. We need men.
It's as simple as that. It's a God given rights for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We need men. It's very simple. We need men to procreate. We need men to provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die. We need men. It's so bad now that they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men and they're like, am I allowed to open the door? Can I not open the door? Can I touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking, they're sweating. And you're just like, be yourself. Just, it's okay. They're so afraid of doing anything wrong. So much so they're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right? Like the straight white men, I heard, are now the most lonely because they just creating incels, you know. They don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this.
So I wonder, why is she... Because Nika
trend
is not linked down here, that I can see at least. But she talks... She told us earlier that her mother opened the first Planned Parenthood in some state. But she talks with an accent. Something fishy feels. Yeah, well, anyway, what she said there isn't entirely incorrect. Feminism has failed men, for sure. It has ignored men's issues, and that's why a lot of men are now lonely, because the movement has been accepted by society and therefore society has ignored men's issues.
Especially happening in schools right now, there is a trend where they are raising up the girls. Girl power, girl boss, girl this, run like a girl in the best way possible.
Make me vomit.
That's it's dangerous. It is dangerous because yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do so that men and women do maintain equality. But at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much? Why? The only men that feminists like.
What? If women are equal to men, why do the girls need to be raised up that much? The goal is for equality. The status isn't equal.
Like are men dressing as women and dominating their sports and just really reversing what the other waves of feminism fought to do. Have fun with men beating you in your sports, women, because guess what? You're not going to beat them. Have fun. I never even felt unequal, so I don't even know what the problem is. I feel like a lot of people just want to have a reason to be upset and outraged. I also just don't identify with all these.
This is so typical Republicans, and I'm sure Isabella, is she down here? Yeah, I'm sure. Let's see if we can. So this is just okay. She's gonna be a Republican, right? Wife to this dude. Banned on Instagram. My new episode on Jubilee Middle Ground arguing as an anti-feminist was released due to being mass reported. Found out feminists want to silence my voice. Okay. Blaze, producer for Blaze TV. Yep. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He thinks Homelander is the good guy. He doesn't know. But yeah, of course, she is a right-wing ambassador, Turning Point USA. Yeah, of course. This is the problem with all right-wingers. They never see a problem they don't personally experience. We see this with people having gay daughters or gay sons, or trans children or whatever. They never change their tune on the LGBTQ ever until their own family is involved in it. That's the only thing that can convince them. Oh shit, my son is trans. Sorry, my now daughter is trans. Maybe I don't want my daughter to be discriminated against. Maybe I don't want my daughter to be murdered. But as long as you don't experience it yourself personally, there's no issue. There's no issue.
Groups, I think they're being pit against each other, separating all these different people by race, class, gender, everything, sexual orientation, and I look at people as individuals.
All right, on that note,
Sure you do.
let's have the
Sure you do.
step forward.
There's a difference between not appreciating men and pointing out the inequities that have been
I like you.
put in place to favor men, especially white men, white straight men.
Yeah.
There's a difference between hating men and pointing out that there are inequities.
I want to talk about this concept of protection. We're talking about good men who are protectors. Who are they protecting us from?
Bad men.
Bad men, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
And
bad
so-
women, bad
right.
anybody.
I could
Could be
drive a
anybody.
car and
It was a rhetorical. I guess.
No,
in some ways
I
a
understand the point you were trying to make. That's
rhetorical
why I
question,
said what
but
you
I'm
wanted
going
me
to
to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, Scarcella. Yeah,
Who
yeah.
benefits from men's bad behavior? Good men as well, right? They get to be positioned as the good guys.
Good apples.
They're the good apples. And that is predicated on
That's a
the
good
bad
argument.
behavior of men.
No, they benefit from being a good person and protecting women. Who cares? We should not be praising people based off comparing them to bad people.
But I don't benefit from being a good girl. I don't
you know,
get
you're a
to-
good feminist, right? I'm sure people love what you have to say as a feminist. Other feminists agree with it and are like, yes, go girl
There
boss.
are
They
good
do.
people on earth and bad people on earth. We're always going to have that. That would never change. It's in every animal kingdom. So we need the good man to protect us from the bad man.
To go off of what you said, because you said when women are sexually assaulted, they turn to another man to protect them. I work as a sexual assault and domestic violence counselor. I work with
Oh,
rape
damn.
victims every single day. They don't turn to men to protect them. They don't.
I didn't say they turn to them. I was saying
No,
like
that
they
I'm-
potentially can, if you're walking home alone at night and
I
you're
don't
afraid.
turn to another man. I don't. I turn to other women.
Yeah, I appreciate men that, like, I love a man that knows his place. Build the house. Yeah, repair that. Because I'm a goddess. Like, if you need to
Okay,
hold your weight
okay.
in the relationship. Like, I appreciate men. I love men. Like,
I'm a
you know,
goddess.
just like
Okay,
you said,
okay,
you know,
okay.
you have a husband. You want to cook for your husband. You make sure that he's good. Men have roles in society as well. Feminist is anything you want it to be as a woman. I am promiscuous because I'm a feminist, but you can also be conservative because I'm a feminist. Modern day feminism is about you and what you make it and not what someone 60 years ago said it was. But I don't praise men because they aren't raping. Like, you know,
No,
that's...
I agree with
they're
everything
men
you
are-
just said.
You're
Right,
agreeing with
okay,
us.
I
We're
agree with
saying
you
the
fully.
same exact thing. Like,
yeah,
that's
but I
actually
disagree
the
with the
movement.
prompt because I do appreciate men. I don't think that feminists don't appreciate men. I think that's not true.
Like the person who taught me to be the feminist that I am was my father. My father did not raise me to believe that I was less than
Oh,
because I
D.
was a woman.
Your father raised no
raised me to
bitch, huh?
understand that I am societally disadvantaged, but he told me that I was going to rise above that.
In my household, my mom was so strong that my dad became so emasculated that he cannot do anything. He stopped working. He became just like a couch potato, right? While she just went out there and kill it. And we are
She is throwing her. Why did I? Why? Sorry, I'm just gonna have to. Something happened here. She is just throwing her father under the bus, isn't she?
We are destroying family, as we know, because look at me. I'm in my 30s. I'm not settled down. I don't have children. I don't have this family unit that I want so terribly.
And that's my father's problem.
No matter how
Issue.
hard I tried, that feminism that I was raised with always tends to overshadow my relationship. Because in my head, I know best, right? Like, I know what's right. I know, because I saw it growing up. I saw it modeled to me growing up. Like, a woman knows everything. We're so powerful.
But the
We're so
idea
strong.
that men are supposed to be the head of the household, do you understand that that is killing men?
That's killing men.
It is killing men.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy they said it.
Let them die because they need to go back to working.
The pressure of it, you mean, right? The pressure?
The pressure of it is destroying their mental health. That's why men
Yes.
are 6 times more likely to commit suicide than women are, especially men in committed relationships. Men in their 40s that are married with families are the highest risk for suicide.
But it's killing men because we have generations and generations of boys who were not raised to be men and rise to that occasion.
It's killing men because we are not in a position capitalistically where we can have men be the one single head of the household, the bread earner, the decision maker. We are no longer in the 1950s. Our economy is not able to handle that kind of nuclear family with the man being the head of the household, the stay-at-home moms and the 2.5 children.
I want to clarify, I'm not a stay-at-home mom.
No,
I do work,
I
and so
understand.
I do have perspective. When you are in a long-term marriage or relationship with a partner of anyone, yes, you're going to have disagreements, but you also have to understand that each person in that partnership does have roles, because that is how a healthy family functions.
Only
But but her ideal is for all men to be educated to be head of the household. There's no wiggle room there. There's no give and take there, huh? So if I'm a man, I have to be the breadwinner. That's just locked in. So the women on top, the women CEOs, they can only then, if this is going to be the standard, they can only go for richer men, for more successful men. Which means if a woman at any point in time, according to this bitch, if a woman at any point at any time becomes the most successful person in the world, boom, failure, can't have it, because she can never find a man to be the breadwinner over her.
women should make laws about women's bodies.
No, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Scarcella. Really? Really, Scarcella? Really?
A minor caveat to
Oh.
this and not say that
No.
entirely just women should make laws about women's bodies.
Fuck that shit.
And I think it's more important that people who are educated
Yes.
on the female body
Then why did
are
you-
the people who are allowed to make laws about the female body. Like,
Yes.
we shouldn't have lawmakers making laws stating, oh, abortion is completely illegal, even if it's an ectopic pregnancy, you can reinsert that fetus. No, you're killing people if you make that kind of stupid law.
It doesn't mean that any of our male lawmakers can't be involved.
And frankly, I think they
at
need to be a
all.
little bit more involved. Some of them
Thank
are
you,
slacking.
yes.
They are laying down.
Yes,
And you know,
absolutely.
I think there are a lot of men who hold a lot of power, who are on our side, who are not doing enough.
Sure. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I want
The prompt, however, is bad. Bad.
all spoke for us because I think you all agreed that
Yeah.
everyone should be involved in making these laws. We need men. You see how simple that was?
And men can be women these days.
Men can't be women if they actively identify as men. That's not a thing.
I currently identify as a man.
Okay, then you're a man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you agree that these laws that are
Yeah, this is my face. This is, oh yeah. That's a good face. Really, bitch? Really? You're gonna tempt it?
laws that are specific about our bodies, shouldn't the originators of that bill talking about our bodies be women?
Answer that. Kenya?
No. I don't think we should think about men versus women. I think we should have intelligent.
It's not about men versus women. Of course, men are going to be involved with creating laws and putting laws into place. But when we're talking about the language, when we're talking about verbiage for these laws, shouldn't a woman be, multiple women preferably, be
involved?
Yeah, be at the forefront of what these laws look like for us.
I think it's less about a man versus a woman and more about the way society is now versus 50 years ago. People that you didn't even vote for, that are spending lifelong terms in Congress and such. You know, that's in the Supreme Court. That's more of an issue to me than worrying about if a man or a woman wrote this law or bill.
There's checks and balances to our government,
checks
but and
and
I wanted to
balances,
ask you, would you, I'm a woman, I'm 100% pro-life.
Oh, you're a woman now?
I identify
Oh, god damn!
100% pro-life.
Oh, you're a woman now?
I identify
She's
right
gender
now.
fluid.
I'm switching back. Okay. No, very fluid by the hour. But would you be okay with, so I'm a woman now, for now, and I am very pro-life. You're okay with women like me?
What is... Oh god, I hate these face lashes, the spider lashes. Ugh.
Making these laws? Because you disagree
No.
with the outcome there. I'm assuming you're pro-choice, right?
But the law is, if we're talking about Roe v. Wade, right?
Yeah,
The
let's-
law
as an
the
example.
law is about, it's not about your ideal of pro-life. It's about abortion. It's about bodily autonomy. If you don't want to get an abortion, fine. That's what it's all about. It's your choice.
I want to sort of reverse it and ask you the question: should there be laws about women's bodies where there was no women involved? Because there certainly.
That's a good question.
Right, but we live in a system of government where there are states' rights, and I live in California, and guess what? I don't agree with anything our governor is doing. I don't agree with the majority that is in our state legislature, yet I live here and I choose to live here, and if I have a problem with the laws, then I have the opportunity to move to a different state.
So just fuck all the people who don't have the opportunity to move to a different state.
Everyone
then.
has opportunity to work, to
They
make
don't.
a life for themselves
No.
here in America.
They
What I
don't.
love about America is
Oh, so fucking right. Oh my god. Oh my, so such a fucking bitch. Bait up.
that this is the only place on earth that you can work and achieve based on your merit.
I was raised.
Of course he works with PragerU. Of course he believes that. Only in America are you able to work based on your merit. There's no other place on the planet, guys. Sorry. Only in America can you work and be taken based on your merit. Yeah. Sure. Let's see here. There is a stat that I'm looking for. There is a nickname for Sweden based around startup businesses called the land of unicorns. The reason for this is simple. Sweden is the country in the world that has the most successful startup businesses per capita. But this bitch, not that bitch, this bitch believes, no. Only in America is the land of opportunity. Only in America can you succeed on your merits. Fuck you, bitch.
That this is the only place on earth that you can work and achieve based on your merit.
I was raised
Fuck
by a
you.
single mom who, didn't have
Not you.
the support she needed to really mother me. So by the time I was 15, I moved out of her home. And I lived with a boyfriend at the time. I fought my school board for better sex education. I fought my senator when he voted to repeal funding for Title X and birth control access to funding I relied on. And I told him, why would you deny me the American dream? And I shared with him that birth control was helping me to be successful, to go on to higher education. And now I'm on a full ride at Columbia University. I'm the first in my family to go to college. And in large part, that is because of access to birth control.
You guys mentioned that, there's not everyone has a bootstrap. And this is why feminism is such a weird topic to have in this particular country, because I'm from a developing country, I'm from Nigeria. Although my parents were quite successful, thankfully, but
Yeah. Okay, there we go. There is a little-known fact, or a well-known fact, actually, that Nigerian immigrants to the U.S. are extremely successful. They are the top of the cream from Nigeria. That's the only way you're able to afford to travel and get a visa in the US from Nigeria. Only in America can you get $50 million contracts. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Grew up around poverty. I saw it every single day. And so
No, you
to come to this
didn't.
country,
Well, maybe you
to have
did,
to
but
start
come on.
over and make something of ourselves. And I see immigrants do it all the time. When you say things like, oh, I was raised by a single mother, or, you know, most people don't have bootstraps, you're in America. That's like, this is, I mean,
This is the place to do
This is
it.
the place to do it. Find that boot.
This is such a fucking meaningless talking point. Oh, because we are in a more successful country than that country, therefore you can't have, you can't complain about this country. Why not? Why? Comparatively, my bootstraps are tiny compared to Elon Musk's. He could afford to lose more money than any other person ever in the history of the planet has lost. He could afford to lose more money than entire country's GDP. That's how fucking rich he is. That's how big his bootstraps are. I figured. Steven Crowder, that fucking bitch. There are a lot of bitches here tonight.
Boots, honey, and put it on.
No one's saying that there aren't
let's just
challenges.
find out.
We're saying that this is the best place
to do it. And
have
I
that
quickly-
challenge.
and I quickly want
the challenges are not distributed equally.
No, they're not.
Let me just.
Somebody did.
To say that only
Wait.
women should make decisions about women's bodies.
I quickly want the challenges are not distributed equally. Nobody said
Yes,
that.
they are. Let me just.
Somebody did.
To
Yeah.
say that only women should make decisions about women's bodies is completely unrealistic.
I have to believe that there is a future where that is possible.
Well, of course there's a future. More women than ever are serving in our government. Of course there's a future. So of course women always have a seat at the table.
You're at Columbia. Look at you. You moved out at 15. You're at Columbia. You're
Yeah,
here.
but when I graduated from UC Berkeley and I was in my lecture halls, there were 2 other black people, and it's 400 people in here. Like, that makes me uncomfortable.
It's not that we look at everything through an oppressive lens, it's that many of us hold different identities that allow society to continue to oppress us. A friend of mine had to travel across state for an abortion. She had the ability to select between paying for her disability, the things that she needs for her disability, or traveling for an abortion. Like, you guys don't have to think about that. She has to
Decision to have sex.
Yeah, her decision is, and some other people's decisions are, I can either eat this month or I can have an abortion out of state. Those two decisions are not fun to contemplate.
Unless it wasn't,
she
then
was
I'm
being
agree.
raped.
No, then I with
Raped.
you. Then I agree with you.
Okay,
Well done.
But I shouldn't have to tell you that story for you to understand that there are certain things that you have not experienced that oppress other people. Oh, okay, you're just traumatized enough for me to understand that maybe
exactly.
things are hard.
Feminism that doesn't include trans women.
I want to see every fucking woman on the left. Yes. Good. Scarcella?
You surprised to see me here? No. Okay, good.
You know, it's really important to include
I am surprised.
women and trans people and gender nonconforming people, which, by the way, I am gender queer myself. I don't actually identify as a woman. It's really important that those of us who do have privileges, like, speak up for trans women in the community, especially because they're the most at risk for hate crimes.
I also want to just level set and say that we are having this conversation without trans women.
Well,
Right?
she
We
just said
believe that.
she's
How do we know that?
genderqueer.
For sure.
I identify as
She's
trans.
on a
and not-
hold on. She identifies as non-binary, and she's on a feminist panel.
my pronouns-
So maybe she doesn't belong here either. They don't belong here.
What?
Plot twist. I am biologically female, and I'll never deny that. I lived as a woman for most of my life. I am 31. I only came out a couple of years ago. I spent a lot of time, the majority of my life in these spaces with women. That does give me a kind of unique perspective now being a trans non-binary person.
There's an issue with categorizing womanhood as a means of female. Earlier, it was mentioned by somebody on the anti-trans side about trans women coming in and taking over sports and things like that, which is just not true.
That is true.
No, it's not.
It is. I can show you a number of cases. There might be people that also haven't.
No, I can show you a number.
Trans women retain 30% of their biological advantage.
That is not
if they went through male puberty. Yes, it is.
That is
yes, it is.
That is not.
If that's true, let's say that's true. Let's assume that's true. If that's true, then they should support prepubescent kids getting CRT. Is that the puberty blockers? Not CRT. CRT is critical race theory. Well, they should support that, but they don't. But they should support that too. No, but seriously, puberty blockers. They should support puberty blockers then, if that's true. If that's true.
That's not even the prompt. I'm not going to argue about that.
Because you're wrong.
If you are a trans woman and you walk out in the world and you are seen as a man, you do not belong in women's spaces. I don't care what anybody says. I think that's ridiculous, and as a man, you do.
Because you're wrong.
If you are a trans woman and you walk out in the world and you are seen as a man, you do not belong in women's spaces.
What's her name? Blair White. Blair White. Really? That's the best resolution? Really? That's... Can I not get a big picture here? They're all just tiny? Really? Large? This is these are large images? Really? Oh my god, I can't seem... I have to zoom in. Okay, this is apparently seen as a man in society. Scarcella, is that your...
That is not...
Let's not argue it. That's not even the prompt. I'm not going to argue about that.
Because you're wrong.
If you are a trans woman and you walk out in the world and you are seen as a man, you do not belong in women's spaces. I don't care what anybody says. I think that's ridiculous, and I think even
seen as a man
that have gender dysphoria that go through transition will agree with me.
This makes me so incredibly uncomfortable that we're even having this conversation.
You could go back over there if you really wanted to.
Oh God.
If we took all of that off
She's
the
such a
table,
bitch.
right? If we're not talking about who can play sports with whom, can people exist as who they are?
Absolutely.
It sounded like you were saying if a trans woman doesn't look like what you perceive as looking like a woman, they shouldn't be in feminist spaces.
I didn't say that. I said they shouldn't be in female spaces.
Okay.
Not feminist spaces.
Okay.
I think women...
I disagree with that, but
that's fine. It makes sense to biologically classify people. It also makes sense to socially classify people. Let's say my friend Blair White was sitting right here. That's my buddy. I love her. She's sitting right here. Do I think she lives her life as a man? No. Like we were talking about men making decisions for women as far as abortions are concerned.
So, Scarcella, let me ask you a question. What is a man? What is a woman? Didn't you ask that question earlier? And now you're saying Blair White is living not as a man, but as a woman? And you don't have a problem with that?
That's something she'll never experience. There are women who biologically cannot produce. There are females, people assigned female at birth, who biologically cannot produce. Are you saying that those female women should not be able to have say in those laws? That's not what I'm saying at all. I guess my main issue with trans women being seen as women and not being seen as trans women is they're changing the definition of women and expecting everybody to go along with that. And that affects me, yes they are, and that affects me directly. You say trans women are women are trans women. It's a very different experience.
Women is a broad definition. It is an umbrella term for what we classify when we talk, if we're talking socially. If we're talking biologically, there's a whole different conversation, but let's just talk socially. Women is a broad umbrella. Under that umbrella, there are subcategories. One of those subcategories is trans woman. Another of those subcategories is biological woman. Or cis woman, I should say, not biological, because that's a different conversation. As I just said, those two terms do not contradict each other. They are both women. They're just different types of women. That's all. That is all. I've reached out. I have not heard back, unfortunately.
Experience.
Women are women.
We're just going to agree to disagree with that. If you ask feminists at a women's march what a woman is, they can't even define it. How can you protect something and empower something that you don't even know the actual definition of?
Simple, Scarcella. We do know the definition of it. It's just a fussy definition. That's all. That is all. What is water? Let's protect water. Ice? Is ice water? Is ice water? Oh, you want to protect gases? Are gases water? It's all just a bit fussy. Where does ice start and water begin? I don't know. Is slush water or slush ice? I don't know. It's just a fussy definition. It doesn't really matter that much, does it now, Scarcella?
Well, I will say J.K. Rowling called herself a feminist and was canceled for not being pro-trans.
Yeah,
which is
good.
Overtaking, reversing some of the work feminists have done in the past.
She's a billionaire.
Well, they criticize
She's
her.
fine.
She's fine.
Her
She's
billionaire
fine.
feelings are hurt. I'm so saddened for her.
I love that. I fucking love that. Oh my god. Oh, let's rewind. I have to see that again.
She's a billionaire.
Oh, the exhaustion. She's a billionaire.
Well, they criticize her.
Fine.
She's fine.
Her billionaire feelings are hurt. I'm so saddened for her.
Feminist movement does not allow anyone to have any other opinions but what you guys
But what
think
does
is
that mean,
correct.
though? Because she's
So it-
allowed to have that opinion, and she still makes a bunch of money.
Yes, she does.
What do trans women take away from women in the feminist movement?
The definition of words and what that means and how that affects us directly.
It always comes down to this. Thank you. I love that. Oh my god, so many good faces.
Can you expand on that?
Yes, when you change the word woman, legally it has implications. Sexually it has implications.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, Scarcella, being a lesbian herself, is going to claim, as she did earlier, me being a lesbian means I'm attracted to a certain type. Okay. You don't have to be attracted to trans women to be a lesbian. Just because trans women are women. You don't have to be attracted to them. You know? It's fine. Go about your merry business. It's fine.
Woman has changed throughout histories, throughout different
Yeah.
cultures. Indigenous people have had different genders, different ways of looking at gender. The Torah specifically has 8 different genders, and we have
Whoa.
recognized.
Really? Interesting. I had no idea. Didn't she have a Star David? The Talmud, a huge and authoritative compendium of Jewish legal traditions, contains in fact no less than 8 gender designations, including male, female, having both male and female characteristics, lacking sexual characteristics, which I would say is non-binary then. I guess both of them would be classified as non-binary, but yeah, androgynous. Identified female at birth, but later naturally developing male characteristics. Identified female at birth, but later developing male characteristics through human intervention. Identified male at birth, natural development, and yeah, the gender opposites. Interesting. Rabbi Yimmer ben in the hour when the Holy One created the first human, he created him as androgynous, having both male and female sexual characteristics. As it said, male and female, he created them. Okay. I had no idea. Yeah, what are even words? Lobsters. Let's talk about lobsters and their sexual empowerment, won't we?
Is that for over 3,000 years, you're denying anybody's culture that does not agree with your perception and your worldview.
Yes.
Because you hold so highly onto your identity and you see it as an attack on who
So
you
do
are.
all of on sexual orientation.
feminists as a
But
whole,
it's
though.
nothing to do with sexual.
It has exactly to do with sex. When you change the word woman and a lesbian is a woman that is attracted to women, how is that not directly affecting us?
I am a heterosexual man. Okay, I have very little to no sexual interest in other men. I've kissed a man. I can raise my hand to that. But it wasn't in a sexual interest kind of way. It was more we need to get this girl out of here and she won't leave us alone, so let's pretend to be gay kind of way, you know? I don't have much sexual attraction towards trans people. I've never been, to my knowledge, so I've had sex with Thai girls, but to my knowledge, they were not trans. But this changing of definitions doesn't change my sexual orientation. It just makes me have to specify it. Maybe, you know, maybe I have to specify it if it comes up, but it doesn't change my sexuality.
What defines a woman is being born with biological women's parts.
Good luck arguing that 400 years ago, 500, 1,000 years, 2,000, 6,000 years ago. Good luck arguing that. Definitions can't change, can they?
And that is what a woman is. And trans women are individuals who choose to live their lives as women, and I honor that. And everyone.
No, you don't. Fuck you.
Dignity and respect, and I mean that. But
no,
at the same time,
no.
There are universal truths, and we have.
No, there are. Universal truths are physics. Physics is a universal truth. Gravity is a universal truth. Apparently, it seems relativity, special relativity, is a universal truth at this scale. Gender is not a universal truth at all.
Society got into this confusing tangled place where there's your truth, your truth, your truth, your truth. There is one objective truth in what we are.
Can you explain to me the women in Guatemala who are born female, who are assigned female at birth, and then during puberty grow penises?
I can't explain.
This girl is coming with some facts. Guatemala. Why did it change there? I'm pressing something to make it change layout because I didn't press it. I'm gonna have to look over my fix here. Anyway, Guatemala girls grow penis. This is. The discovery of a small community in the Dominican Republic where some males are born looking like girls and only grow penises at puberty has led to the development of a blockbuster drug that helped millions of people, right? Okay. Because he had no visible testes or penis, and that what appears to be a vagina. It is only when he approached puberty that his penis grew and testicles descended. Johnny, once known as Felicita, remembers going to school in a little red dress, though he says he was never happy doing girl things. That's interesting. He was never happy doing girl things. I never liked to dress as a girl. And when they bought me toys for girls, I never bothered playing with them. When I saw a group of boys, I would stop to play ball with them. When he became obviously male, he was taunted at school and responded with his fists. They used to say I was the devil, nasty things, bad words, and I had no choice but to fight them because they were crossing the line. We also filmed with Carla, who at the age of 7 is on the brink of changing into Carlos. His mother has seen the change coming for quite a while. When she turned 5, I noticed that whenever she saw one of her male friends, she wanted to fight with him. Her muscles and chest began growing. We could see she was going to be a boy. I love her, however she is, girl or boy, it makes no difference. I had no idea about this. Thank you. That's very interesting.
Explain it because
All chases, yeah. Jordan Peterson, Steven Crowder is 100% confirmed a chaser, by the way.
That sounds like an intersex condition. You try to, I get how feminists always try to tell us how we should live our life. I said I was a raging feminist because I don't believe that. I don't know anything about that. Sounds like an intersex condition. You try to, I get how feminists always try to tell us how we should live our life. I said I was
No,
a
they
raging
didn't.
feminist because I don't believe that.
I don't see that.
You don't believe that?
I can't see any traces of feminism in
My
what you're
mother
saying.
is literally.
We heard a lot about your mom, but what about you?
I am a woman. Looking at
And?
me, I am a woman, born and raised a woman.
And?
Why are we trying to write women, born biological women? Why are you trying to write us out of history?
You guys keep saying that there's a biological reality of male and female. Scientists do not agree with you.
Nope.
Scientists that you choose to agree with. I mean, you can find
No.
a scientist to back up anything you want to prove
Well,
these days.
I choose to do peer-reviewed studies and not
Mhm.
ones that are backed by political agenda. And I'm sorry that my peer-reviewed studies tend to agree with the fact that trans women.
Reality have a left-wing bias. It's just true.
Are women, and that biology it does not exist in a binary. Never has, and it never will.
It's bimodal.
Crave men's approval.
Men's approval has kept me safe in so many ways. Being desirable, being fuckable, has kept me safe many a time. And
Girl.
it's no secret. I guess that's where I disagree. It's no secret that sometimes men's approval is what stands between me and safety.
I firmly believe that the reason why I waited so long to come out with my transness is because I was afraid of losing male approval. It is so embedded into our society. I really pushed myself to present in a way that wasn't authentic to me for men.
And there is no maybe Scarcella can sell it. But the other bitches, there's no way they can sell that they do not. Well, maybe not secretly, but they do crave men's approval. 100%.
Like very actively and trying to fight for nobody's approval but myself. Like, because it's not even that I should have men's approval, or I should need men's approval or women's approval. I should need my own approval.
Yeah, and I mean, this prompt I think might be surprising for some folks to see us sitting here.
Yeah, because we're like so feminist, but like,
But
you
it's
know.
a reminder that this work doesn't happen in a vacuum. And that because I am implicated in what is happening, right, in the issues, I am implicated in the issues, that's why I do the work. Because I am impacted by them.
I've never thought of a moment where I thought to myself, oh, I wish that men would find me sexy because I feel so empowered in myself. I always dress like this from head to toe, covered usually from head to toe, and I don't think I've ever.
And she doesn't think that gives her men's approval? Like, it's not about sexual approval necessarily. It's just about men's approval. Of course, men that in your circles, conservative men, approve of that. And that's why you dress that way. Of course.
There's a moment, perhaps subconsciously, but I don't think I've ever.
I mean, I think the prompt is, how do you say? It's lacking in nuance, I should say. I think humans, crave other humans' approval all the time. It's just the nature of our existence.
And, you know, I think that's also why, you know, with my platform now that I switched from a raging feminist to femininity, which I was, and you can't tell me what I was and who I was. I had the shaved head, the armpit.
Yeah.
Did
you really?
Yes, I did. And when I went from that to that, now I teach women how to like dress modern and cover up and be feminine and soft and all of that.
Who are you dressing modern and modest for?
For myself, because it empowers me.
Mhm.
I am Nigerian first and foremost, and because of that, in our culture, we've always been very modest. We didn't even have a word for it.
Yeah.
Just that's how women dress. We would lay.
And Nigeria, that's not patriarchal, is it? No. There's no patriarchy in Nigeria.
On top of layers, on top of layers. And I remember when I first, you know, became a feminist and like moving and I would show skin, I always felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah, but you don't.
Feel uncomfortable.
You don't have to show skin as a feminist. Look at Alexa. Is she showing skin? No, she's not. I would say all the women on this panel are dressing modestly.
Showing your skin. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just asking out of curiosity why you felt uncomfortable, like what the root of that discomfort was.
Because it's not who I am.
But I also think we'd be denying reality if we said when we put clothes on the morning, we didn't think about the way that we would navigate the world in them, right? The way that people would perceive us and think about us. And it's definitely worth noting that, like, you know, clothing choices are also about access to power, access to moving through spaces, being seen as acceptable in certain spaces, right?
Like covering up, not necessarily because you feel like that empowers you, but covering up because it's a sense of safety. Like so many, like one of the things that we have to...
Like the women in Iran who are now removing the headscarves, removing the hijab. They are rejecting Islamic modesty.
That with my job, we have to correct officers on, like when an assault victim comes forward, like they're not allowed to ask what were you wearing, like,
Yeah, it's bad.
but that's but
bad.
because it's very bad. It's very it's very dehumanizing because it implies that
It was their fault.
That it was their fault.
I think we can all agree on
Yes.
that. I
Yeah.
was assaulted, fully clothed, when I was only 12 years old. So, you know, trust me, I know.
We're going to have a prompt that has to do with this.
Cool.
Yeah, I just don't really care about men. Like, men are not a part of my day. When I wake up in the morning, I think about how to be the baddest, how to step into myself. So if that's looking like you from head to toe or showing a little cleavage, like it's going to be what it is. And men are going to like, the men I attract, they like me because I am like no one else they've met. Like they've never really...
I don't like her. She tries too much. She thinks she's unique. Girl, nobody's unique. Nobody is special. We're all just snowflakes. But snowflakes aren't special either. There are trillions of them. Trillions. And they don't all, they do share characteristics. They do share patterns. They're not unique.
Experience this new person. It's like you don't know what their approval is. Like especially when it comes to things like race and
But I think she's young, and I think that's why she thinks she's special. Young people think they're all special, you know. I did when I was younger.
But I do just want to say that men's approval, once again, it's not just about if they want to date you or marry you or have sex with you. It is about if they want to hire you, if they want you to be a part of their organization or their school. And so when we talk about wanting men's approval, we're talking about if they want to hire me, if they want to let me have access to that social mobility, and if they will allow me to be safe walking down the street or in a bar. Men's approval is so much deeper and more systemic than just romantic.
Are we allowed to, I have to agree with that, even though we're on the opposite end of this, because, you know, I'm a blogger and I write about women's, like, makeup, and, you know, for example, Dove is one of the brands that I am the face of, and when I go into those meetings, they are white men. And although I do not go into it thinking, oh my God, I should seek their approval, I do know that the way I dress conservatively gets me those checks.
And probably as a black woman, how you wear your hair as well.
Oh yeah, they love this hair.
And that
Oh,
was
they love it.
sort
They
of
love it.
where
They love
I was
it.
trying to push you before.
No, I do that.
Yeah.
But that's also how I was raised, and it's cultural. Nigerian women are very conservative by nature.
It's rational for women to fear men.
I mean, we are stronger. It's considerably stronger.
Working with sexual assault and domestic violence victims every single day, it has completely just reopened my mind and my trauma, because I am a sexual assault survivor myself, which is why I got into the work that I do. It's every single woman, almost every single woman has some sort of story where she was in a room or in a space with a man and that man made her feel unsafe. And if every single woman has a story like that, it's rational.
Absolutely. And I think that's why, again, I know I'm bringing this back to the trans issue, but that's why I think it's important to define what a woman or man or male or female is. Like, if it's just something in your head, then why do we logically have to be afraid of that specific thing if it's just something, a gender in your head?
So
there are biological differences that can make us fearful or
Yes
make men react certain ways that are different than women.
Yes and no, but there's
but
there's absolutely a different perception of a trans woman than a man. Like, when, in my experience, when women are in the same room as trans women, they're not as fearful of like, oh my God, this person could assault me, because the likelihood of trans people assaulting women is so small. Like, it's practically not. There's a reason for that.
I agree with that. Actual trans women. My point.
Trans women, period, not actual or inactual.
No, there is a thing. People that are claiming the trans identity but are not trans.
That's against the prompt.
That's true.
Men are not only scary because of their biological difference, they're strong or whatever, right? Some of the violence is that men can be abusive, harmful, and get away with it.
It's the systemic power.
It's just
So, okay. But so can women. So can women. And in a lot of cases, men can't fight back against women who are violent against them. They can't retaliate, which women 100% can. So I don't.
systemic power that is scary.
The reason that 90% of sexual assault cases go unreported is because of like roughly the 8% that are reported, only 2% of them actually face consequences.
And how many of those unreported cases are men and being assaulted by women, but being unable to report it because of how society would react if they did? Oh, are you a pussy? Didn't you like when she raped you? We have seen this with, was the heiress in Australia, Australian heiress, sexual relation with young boy. I mean, 45-year-old woman groomed and had sex with a 14-year-old boy 4 times in one day. How many people commented on this, said, "Ooh, nice. Why wasn't that when I was a kid? Where was she when I had my sexual revelations or awakening? Oh my God, he's so lucky." That's gonna stop men from reporting women. So it's not a one size fits all. It's not all women being assaulted by men. I do think the dark numbers for men are greater, much greater than for women, because we focused so much on women being victims of assault.
I think we all agree.
Yeah. Everyone agrees.
Right.
Some of my deepest, I honestly would say probably my deepest trauma is actually not my physical sexual assault. It was the manipulation that I faced in the workplace by someone who was not necessarily physical with me, but they manipulated me. They used their power to paint me in a light and push me out of that job that I loved.
I'm so sorry you experienced that.
I agree, like the stats will say a trans woman, which I would say is a man, a trans woman, it is less likely, like very unlikely to attack. But it's not even, it's really kind of the principle. It's like, but if they were to, they would beat me up.
But then I'm going to take that one step further, which is that if they were to, and then the police were to come, what would their experience be like versus yours as a white woman?
I'm not talking about the cops. It's just me and
But
the
the
trans
cops are
woman.
a factor.
I
right?
actually hate the cops. Just saying. I don't like cops.
If you see a
That's a great way to not answer the question. That's a fantastic way to avoid the question entirely.
male person and you see a trans woman, like, what does that have equal amounts of fear for you, or is there a difference?
So my thing, I'm trying to focus in on a trans woman wants to beat me up.
Why are trans women wanting to beat you up?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It's a hypothetical. I'm just saying, like, can we all agree that I would get my ass beat?
But I'm saying...
Well, yes or no? I mean...
yes, maybe,
So that's
but
all
then, how would the experience be outside of just that
Why are we
hypothetical
going- I'm not
vacuum?
even talking about
No,
this.
I want to finish my thought, because
That's not the- that's not the prompt, though.
No, but it is the prompt, because we're talking about... We can't talk about this in a hypothetical vacuum.
The prompt was that it's rational for women to fear men, but you're bringing in trans women when the discussion is men.
It's not about physicality for me. It's about power.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that,
and that's what you are
And that's
saying.
what I'm saying, is that that situation is so unlikely, and it is unlikely because of the difference in societal power that you hold over a trans woman. That's not exactly true.
For people who love to
I understand what you're
who
saying.
love to criticize other people for assuming genders incorrectly, you love assuming how things are going to happen and like predict the future and how situations play out.
Does she think a trans woman wouldn't be looked at and treated worse than a cis woman would in the US by police?
Out and how I'm treated by everyone else.
Well, you're hypothetical. That's a hypothetical. You're also
assuming what would happen to me.
You're assuming what would happen to you.
A man would beat me up. Yes. Yes.
You're assuming a trans woman would beat you up.
We'll be specific. Male. Yes. That's all I'm saying. You want to avoid answering that part and going to this bigger, broad
What's
thing
the
to avoid.
question?
If there's a biological man, a trans woman.
I disagree with you on the definition here. Biological male.
But I'm a
biological We'll say male or female and gender man or woman.
I'm a biological woman who is roughly of like not too big of difference of size. I could easily beat you up. So why are you more afraid of them than me when I present just as equal of a difference to you? It's because of your...
No, you obviously could beat
No,
me up
because
too, but man would
but
beat me up more.
no, you said this 5 minutes ago. Males, not men necessarily. Males create. What do you say? 90% of. Would you say males create 90% of the crimes?
I didn't
sexual,
say, I didn't say that.
There was something like that.
I said I was talking about reports of sexual assault, and that does actually include male assault victims.
Right.
And most of
Most
the
of them
time,
are males.
And most of the male
That's
assault
my point.
victims, their assaulters were also men.
That's my point. Right.
Hi. Okay, so let's start by saying the conversation that I just listened to, I don't disagree with much of what we were talking about. When this prompt was asked, I interpreted the prompt to say, to communicate, it is rational for women to fear all men. I know that the word all was not in there, but that's how I sort of understood it, which I don't think it's rational for women to fear all men. I think that's very tragic. We know that there are bad men, we know that there are very, very good men. And I personally think that the amount of good men exceedingly overwhelms the amount of bad men, but that's just my personal
But the bad men are the men in power.
I also, quite frankly, fear women. I do. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other in the workplace. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other and how toxic women can be to each other when it comes to polarizing topics like we've discussed here, motherhood, other very incendiary topics.
We're talking about physical abuse with men, and actually with emotional abuse, it's most common in lesbian couples. Really?
So, yeah, that is actually.
You would know.
No,
you deal with it. It's
there is
horrendous.
actually a statistic.
Horrendous.
Women are equally as likely to.
I like this Riki girl. Or whatever. Or she identifies as.
Domestic violence.
Can I say she identifies as? You know what the fuck I mean. I'm sorry.
I genuinely, when I got into this work, I thought that it was going to be like, oh, just men commit domestic violence. No, women are
Really
equally
bad.
as likely to commit domestic
But
violence.
why were you surprised by that?
Because I had a different
What do you mean? Why were you surprised by that? You know why he's surprised by that.
definition in my head of what domestic violence was before I got my training. Domestic violence is not just like punching, hitting, or physical violence. Oftentimes it's emotional violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, financial violence, legal violence, and women are far more likely to commit psychological domestic violence or emotional domestic violence.
But why were you, with your original definition, the more violent definition of domestic
Like
violence?
physical violence?
Yeah, physical violence. Why were you surprised that, oh, women, like...
I wasn't surprised that
like
women
you
commit
assumed that men
physical.
would.
No, I wasn't
commit
surprised
more,
that
though.
women commit physical violence. Physical domestic violence. I assumed that under the I assumed that there was one definition of domestic violence, and that was physical. And statistics do show that men do commit physical domestic violence more than women do. That's just a fact. But
Like,
when you add in all other kinds of domestic violence, women commit it at equal rates.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on the group discussion. Take a breath for a second.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the ways in which we have been able to come together and agree, because I am of the opinion that feminism and anti-feminism, they do oftentimes blend, because I think a lot of the times we are misunderstanding what the other person's
We all
viewpoint
want
is.
what's good for women.
That's what I said over there.
We
I
just
said
have
we
a
all want
different
it.
idea of
what
what's
that
good for
is.
women, yes, but we all want the best for each other.
Even if I disagree, I love strong women. I love it. It's not a gay thing, maybe a little bit.
And all of our intentions are good. We don't want ill.
That is a wrap on the group discussion.
Okay. Yeah, everyone from Europe watching this like gonna be, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? I want to see if there's someone who disagrees with us. What she should have said was first world countries in general, which ironically are the only countries where feminism is super strong. Yes, queen, yes. My thought exactly. I think she meant that everyone has the ability to succeed when they come to America, or if they're in America. But I don't know, lol. I'm an immigrant to the U.S. and I've worked here hard to get where I am, and I think it's kind of no. Don't scapegoat. Don't interpret what she said. Don't misinterpret what she said. But some people find success in countries that aren't considered first world. Yes, that's true. Yeah, but most times the not people don't come to those countries, especially Americans. EU gatekeeps. Okay. Get over yourself. Who was... Get over yourself. A lot of Southeast Asian countries and India, South Africa, and South America countries have a fairly high social and economic mobility. It's not just first world countries anymore. It depends on what you want to do. A lot of Europeans are shocked at the amount of personal and business-related freedoms over here compared to their home country. Odds are you can make it anywhere if you try hard enough, but America is the only place for certain things. Huh? For which certain things is America? Probably you mean the US. Yeah. I'm really curious what you mean. What's his name? Cynical activist. Do they respond? Isn't USA kind of known for being hostile towards Mexican immigrants? Yes, they are. I don't think cynical... No, it doesn't respond. Okay, anyway. I like this video. I was surprised at the feminists, pro-feminist side, how good they were. I've seen some of the videos from Jubilee, and a lot of times the feminists are... or the left side, liberal side, are not the best to articulate their thoughts. I've noticed. But this time, it was a good video. It was a good video. I like it. I like it very much. I do approve. Scarcella, go fuck yourself. All other anti-feminists, especially Jill. Of all the people there, Jill can go fuck herself the most. That's just a fact. I don't know if I have the energy for anything else today. I'm sorry. I've been going on for 4 hours. I have to eat. I am a hungry boy. A very hungry boy. And as a hungry boy, I take my right to go eat some. So I want to thank everyone who's watched Socialist. Thank you as ever. I am going to see if I can. Can I do that? There we go. There we go, Socialist. If you're still here. Yeah, do you see the change, Socialist? Do you see the change? Yeah, that's my boy. Anyway, thank you for watching so fucking much. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I have no idea how it works. I have no fucking idea. But if you click the 3 dots to the right of another person, you can get some things, I believe. But yeah, I mean, here, let me show you this way then, if you so desperately want to. And there we go. Oop. You have down here, you have 3 dots, and you get some. I can take it away if you're not careful. Be careful. I can take it away as easy as I have given it to you. But yeah, that's all it is. Anyway, have a good one. I'll see you in the next stream, I hope, and take care. Bye-bye.